Hello and welcome to the second ever Dart Show watch-along live here at the Blackpool Winter Gardens. It's night 7 of the Betfred World Matchplay. We've got 2 huge quarterfinals coming your way this evening. It's Friday night in Blackpool. It's going to be massive. But joining me to conduct through the action is these 2 gentlemen. Colin, Lloyd, welcome back. Welcome back to the sofa. And of course, Chris Murphy, welcome back. It's going to be a massive night of darts once again, isn't it?
Yeah, absolute pleasure to be here watching it with you guys again. Well, last night we've got a couple of players that ran away with it a little bit. I think we'll get at least one really close match tonight.
Well, let's quickly touch on the 2 games that we've got this evening. Ryan Searle versus Johnny Clayton first up. A massive night for both. Let's just quickly mention all 4 players this evening, first time they've been in the quarterfinals of this competition. That might surprise you with a couple of them, but it's a massive opportunity for everyone involved, isn't it?
Yeah, remarkable chance for any player to go and win this tournament. Aspinall and Colin through in one semi-final. You could pick any combination as the other semi-final. Johnny Clayton, even though not a quarter-finalist in this tournament, probably has the most experience of getting to deep ends. But everybody else has had their runs. They've all been in TV finals.
Well, let's quickly touch on the action yesterday evening. We've seen our first 2 semi-finalists book their spot in the last 4. Joe Colin is through, Nathan Aspinall is through. Again, huge opportunities for those 2. In a minute we can take a look at their winning moments, but a massive, massive opportunity for those 2 to get a massive title to their name.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Nathan Aspinall. Aspinall's obviously won a youth
it's magnificent. Seeing their winning moments here on screen.
Yeah, Colin getting over the line here.
Yeah, good solid performance last night by Joe. I mean, I think we touched on it, fellas, where, you know, Daryl Gurney at this stage in the quarterfinals of a big major, you can't let somebody get a 5-0 lead. And I think that was pivotal last night. I think that was why the result was what it was.
Well, in the end, he won by 5 legs, didn't he? So it literally was the difference between them.
Yeah, that early session really hurt Daryl. You could see going into the break 5-0 down. That's after the way he played in his first 2 games, to then start like that in a quarter-final must have been really tough for him.
Yeah, I think you touched on it last night, Murph. Like with Luke Humphreys, he had that little bit of a wobble game, and unfortunately for Daryl, that wobble game was in the quarterfinals, and you know he'll be gutted about that. But you know what? I think this morning, you know, if I spoke to him, I'd be saying to him, listen, mate, take away the positives. You haven't put in a performance like that in a big major in a long time. You know, build on it. You know, there's plenty more majors left between now and the end of the year. There's plenty of European tours, plenty of pro tours. Keep pushing. Keep carrying on doing what you're doing. Results will come, and you'll start winning more titles.
Well, there we saw Joe Cullen winning his game. Let's quickly take a look at how Nathan Aspinall booked his spot in the semi-finals.
Yeah, a bit of a different game. He had a mid-match move, didn't he? Won 9 out of 11 legs. At one point, Joby admitted himself afterwards he just went missing in the middle of the match, and it really cost him. But Aspinall, as he so often does, if you give your opponent an inch, he takes a mile, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think, you know, Chris said in some interviews that he said he doesn't know what happened just in the middle of the match. He just felt really flat. And as much as he was trying really hard, which you're going to do, there just didn't seem to be anything there. And when someone's pushing relentlessly, like we know Nathan does, you know, you just get a little bit more demoralised, a little bit more bogged down, and you try that much harder that you're not running properly, you lose that little bit of throw, you know.
There's been a shot before this, Lloyd, as well, where he'd had an opportunity to see the 25 in a second, and the first start is dodgy, isn't it? And he stopped, and it was a leg before where you said he should have stopped. Yeah, he must have heard it, because he did it the next time around and got over the line.
Yeah. Well, we saw the crowd really pulling for Nathan. We know that Chris Dobes is a lovely guy too, but what is it about Nathan's game that really resonates with the crowd here in Blackpool?
I think it's just because he's such a bouncy, bubbly character, and he brings all that to the stage. And the crowd like to see that. They don't want to see someone just methodically go 180, 140, something else, boom.
That's like that there.
Yeah. And he smiles. You know, through a match, he's smiling. You know, he's up there trying to do a professional job, but he smiles and he interacts with the crowd. The crowd love it. If you're a player, you interact with the crowd. That's why, dare I say it, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Mardle. That's why they love Mardle. Because he interacted with the crowd, and he tried to get the crowd bubbly and tried to get them involved in it. And the likes of Wayne and the likes of Nathan, they feed off of that. And so when you, I think I said it last night, I think when he's bouncing, to me he's like, I'm showing my age there, he's like Zebedee in the Magic Roundabout. When he's bouncing, you know, he's at it then. He's at it, and you know he's on his game.
He's relatable as well, though, isn't he? 5 years ago, he had 20 quid in his bank account in Everton Hospital, and he's gone on to. He's the guy off the street that's gone and made something of himself.
Well, let me quickly explain how this watch-along is going to work. If you weren't with us last night, we're asking one question: where were you? But tonight, make sure, if you're watching along with us and you're trying to watch the darts at the same time, you maybe pause your telly and you can sit and watch the darts with us like it's your mates in the living room with you, or down the pub, or wherever you want to be. But that's what we're going to be doing this evening. We're going to be guiding you through the action. You won't be able to see the darts directly on here, but we are going to bring you a number of stars from the world of darts and the world of sport, because Ricky Hatton, the world-famous British boxer, he's going to be joining us very shortly. In fact, I've just seen him appear behind the cameras. He'll be on the sofa in a matter of moments, but first let's quickly talk about tonight's two games. Ryan Searle versus Johnny Clayton. First up, how do you see it going?
Go on.
Oh, that's it. You've done this to me last night as well. I'm actually really looking forward to this game. They're two guys that they're not rat-tat-tat, but they just get on with it, and they go up there in a nice professional manner. Ryan gets in and he starts scoring, and his finishing is really good. Johnny Clayton's second match, I thought he looked fantastic. So I'm going to go with, I think it's going to be a really tight game, but I'm going to go with Johnny Clayton just because he's got the experience. He's got the bigger experience in this stage of an event.
I hate it, Lewis, but I agree. I agree with Lloyd. I think it will come down to experience tonight. I'm not sure that Ryan can sustain what he needs to sustain for as long as Johnny Clayton can.
Considering the amount that Johnny has won in his career up to date, do you feel it's a bit harsh that he isn't the favourite for the tournament ahead of the quarter-final stage that was?
Possibly, but he's in a very similar spot to what he was a couple of years ago when he won loads of tournaments, and that all started when he won the World Cup, didn't it? And that's happened again, so maybe we're going to see the ferret clean up once again.
Do you know, the thing I like about Johnny Clayton, we say that about being the favourite. We always know that Johnny Clayton, he is someone that can just flick the switch. All of a sudden he's hitting absolutely nothing, and all of a sudden he just goes crash, bang, wallop, and then all of a sudden he just starts picking off 11, 13, 12, 11, 14. And those purple patches, as we call it, they really, really hurt. And that's what he's capable of doing.
Nice close-up shot of me there, by the way. Brilliant, brilliant stuff.
Well, let's move on to our second quarter-final this evening. Damon Heta taking on Luke Humphries. First, are we going to see Damon do another Ashes-themed walk on it? He's probably likely to do a rain dance this evening, I imagine. He'll be praying for some rain tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, the way it's gone today, doing it again might actually endear him to the crowd a little bit more. Look, it's good banter. Yeah. And if he plays it right, then he could actually get some of the crowd on side.
Well, look at the fans voting on our Twitter page. They're pulling for Luke Humphries, the tournament favourite, your favourite for the title. Chris, are you sticking with that? First, quickly answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are sticking 100%.
With that.
67% think that Luke Humphries is going to win it this evening. Damon Heta was very impressive against Brendan Dolan, winning 11-1, but tonight is a different bag, and Luke Humphries is a fierce competitor, isn't he?
Oh, he's a fierce competitor, but how is he going to, as he looked at it, is he taking it in of being the favourite for the tournament now? Because he's been in that rich vein of form, I sort of think, I'm liking to think that hopefully where he was instilled as favourite, and he had that little bit of a wobbly game, like you said about Murph. Right, I've got through that now. Right, just switch off, just do what I do. Do what I do.
Did you feel that burden when you were going in tournaments number one seed?
I'd done that because when I went, and I was fortunate, I actually won the World Grand Prix. But as soon as Taylor went out, I was instilled as favourite, and I ended up playing Dennis Smith. Don't get me wrong, I got through that match with Dennis Smith 4-0 with a double start, but I just couldn't relax. I thought, how am I favourite? How am I favourite? Phil Taylor's got, and I just felt that little bit of extra pressure. But I think if Luke's not thinking about that now, he can just focus on his game. I can see Luke coming through that game. Not comfortably, I think Damon can cause him problems, but I think Luke comes through it.
Well, Lloyd, we're only a few moments in, but we're already going to ask you to depart so quickly. You've only just joined us, but but we've got none other than Ricky Hatton ready to join us. I think he's just the other side of the curtain, so give him a minute to come over. But as you can hear, the crowd is already getting very, very loud. It's going to be an electric night here in Blackpool, isn't it? Oh, let's bring him in. Ricky Hatton is here. Just pass him over, Lloydie.
Go on, take a seat there, pal.
Ricky, in you come. Please pop these on for us. Hopefully you should be able to hear both of us if we pop them on, standing on the cable. There we go. Right, can you hear us, Ricky?
Yeah,
loud and clear. Right, just to let you know, we're live on the official PDC YouTube page. Welcome to Blackpool. We saw you here last night. You're back again. You must love the darts here at the World Matchplay.
I've loved the darts, yeah, to be honest. I used to come every year, you know, without fail, whether it be the World Matchplay here or whether it be in London. But since then, you know, the babbies have come along, you know, so you got summer holidays and then New Year holidays, and I train professional boxers now, so I've not been able to get here, and it's been a little bit upsetting, but I've really enjoyed it, The standard is getting better all the time.
As you say, you've watched darts for a number of years. The standard is crazy, and the names that we're seeing are no longer the Phil Taylors, the big names of darts. We've got a crazy open field this year, haven't we? 2 quarterfinals this evening, big opportunities for both players.
Yeah, there's not much in it. Anyone could win it. You know, you're going to put your money on. I'm going to put my money on Aspie. Stockport lad, get it up there, boy. But no, anyone can win it. You know, and it's on the day. Once you get to this stage, you know, whoever performs right on the day, you know, can win it. You know, all the big names, if you like, are all, you know, all out now. So I mean, it's a tough time for everyone, but I think everyone will think they've got half a chance, and no, you know, why not?
Well, we've been asking the fans at home to send in questions for you because we knew you were coming on the show. Thank you for joining us, first and foremost. Matt Taylor says here, which dart player do you think would be the best boxer?
Which dart? Probably Cliff Lazarenko, because all I'd have to do is sit on him. But
what about Gerwyn Price, you know, with a tough physique?
Yeah, Gerwyn Price, yeah, I wouldn't like to tackle him myself. I met Gerwyn, you know, big, stocky lad, you know what I mean?
These days Aspinall's a bit of a fighter as well, isn't he?
Pardon?
Aspinall is a bit of a fighter on the stage.
Who told you that, him?
The way he plays darts, anyway.
Right, no, but you know, there's so many, you know, so many big names, you know, in the game. You know, I don't think anybody will do what Phil Taylor's done. And I think, you know, you've got like the Wayne Mardles and the Peter Wrights and that have made the sport, you know, the entertaining sport it is today, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's fantastic, the darts. I mean, and the Winter Gardens, I mean, there's bigger venues where the darts are at, but the Winter Gardens, this is the best in its class. Not just because of the, you know, what we're looking at, you know, but the history that has been here. Nothing else, yeah.
Do you see some similarities with darts and boxing? I know they're not knocking lumps out of each other physically up there, but it is an individual sport, isn't it? You've only got yourself to rely on.
Yeah, you know, and it's like tunnel vision, and, you know, and I think the format is, you know, where, you know, if you get off to a little bit of a shaky start, which is the same when you do when you get to like a 12-round level boxing match, you know, if you get off to a little bit of shaky start, not let your head, you know, fall off, because you've got time to make it back, haven't you? And I think, you know, I think if I was giving anyone any advice, and I mean, I'm not a darts player as such, but I think if you say, listen, you want to get off to a good start, but if you don't, keep at it, don't let your head fall, because, you know, because of the format so long, you can put it back. Who
do you think has got the best sort of temperament mentality then out of the modern day darts player?
It's very hard to say. I mean, there's not much. I mean, they're all first class now.
Because Taylor used to just dominate, didn't he? He'd have his foot on everybody's throat.
Massive tunnel vision, you know, and these players like, I used to like Adrian Lewis, you know what I mean? He, you know, he'd throw absolutely rapid, wouldn't he? And that, you know, and where Phil would, you know, like concentrate, and everyone, you know, would go in, and Adrian would go bump, 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 you know, and I think, you know, players like that have probably got lesser, I don't know, probably lesser chance. I mean, Phil was just like a machine, wasn't he? Bang, 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 you know, but got the Michael Van Gerwens and the Adrian Lewis, you know, and the Peter Wrights, that are colourful characters, you know, and I think Phil Taylor made darts what it is today, and I don't think anyone will probably do what Phil's done, but they've all, you know, played their own job, you know, like Peter Wright, Wayne Mardle, you know, back in the day, Eric Bristow and all the characters makes the sport what it is today.
And do you think that is really important? You were an entertainer in your day in boxing. Do you think that those big figures are really what has driven this sport to the level that it is now?
I never thought, when I'd followed boxing, followed darts for years, I should say, and I used to go. I first went at the Circus Tavern down in Purfleet, when it first started there, and I've been coming here at World Matchplay, and it, to see it escalate to the standard of all the quality of what it is, and the crowds that are turning up tonight, it's unreal. You wouldn't believe it was possible.
What about you, Ricky? We know you can throw a punch. Can you throw an arrow?
I can't say that I was a fantastic dart player, but I can't say I was a rubbish one. I certainly won more than I lost, because I think deep down everyone was scared to death of me.
Well, we've got a photo that we want to bring up here that we want to ask you about. You played Manny Pacquiao in a darts match in the build-up to your big fight, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. I played him in my local pub. We did the 24/7 programs, if you remember, where they followed you around. All my mates were looking to fill him in, and like, no. But it was like to have Manny Pacquiao in my local pub, and the result didn't go, certainly the dance result went the way I wanted it, but I know the fight didn't go the way I wanted it. But I mean, to fight fighters of that stature, Manny Pacquiao, and I mean, when you think the only people that beat me were, until my comeback fight, was probably the two greatest of all time. So I didn't have a bad one.
Do you think that's why people resonate with darts as well? Much like boxing, much like yourself, they see the fighters as sort of regular blokes, a bit like them.
Yeah, well, if you're having a bad game, you can't turn around and say, bring a sub on, I'm playing crap here. You can't do it, And that's why you've got to keep that tunnel vision, And it's, the best ones are the ones that can concentrate, When you do a 12-round fight, you have a few little scary moments, and your tactics will go one way and then the other and everything like that. But the great champions can hold the nerve, and I think the players that can hold the nerve the best for the rest of this week have got the best chance of winning it, to be honest with you, because they can all beat each other this week.
Well, let's quickly touch on another passion of yours, Manchester City. It's been an incredible year for City, hasn't it? You were out in Istanbul, weren't you?
I like a little gamble, and I thought to myself, to have a 9-dart finish in one game is 20-1, and I thought, this is worse than betting on City winning the league, but no, to be part of that last year, winning the treble, and I was very, very fortunate. I saw us lift the Premiership up at the Etihad. I saw us lift the FA Cup at Wembley, and I saw us the Champions League in Istanbul, and I never thought that'd be possible, because don't forget, a few years ago we were down in the second division, and it was terrible. So to actually be there when we did the treble, something else.
Keep firing in your questions for Ricky. We'll have them for a few more minutes. The players are just walking onto the stage now, so we'll just quickly hear what they had to say earlier today as they spoke to Gabby Partington.
Congratulations, you're through to the quarterfinals. First time you've been at this stage in the competition, and I feel like you didn't even believe you're going to make it this far.
Well, no, obviously I've not had much luck here in the last couple of years. I drew Michael Smith first round on my first year, obviously lost. He played well, and I felt I was a bit nervy. Last year I played Dirk in the first game. I averaged 101 and lost, so I felt like if I had a bit of a better draw, I could have got through. But, it's just one of those things. You've got to take it on the chin, and I feel like my form from last year carried over to this year, and I'm looking forward to my quarter-final tonight.
Well, you only booked your hotel room until Wednesday, so
yeah,
is it booked till Sunday now?
That's me all over, that is. That's me all over. I'm not very well prepared. But, yeah, we just booked Friday to Friday, and, if we had to extend because I was still in, then it's not a bad problem to have, so we've extended to Monday now, and hopefully I'm still here.
Okay, well, I'm sure you will be, but you knocked out two former champions to get through to this stage of the competition. Has that given you the confidence that you can almost beat anyone now?
Yeah, I mean, I've proven it in the past that, I can beat anyone on the tour, and, I truly believe that, and I think is this Johnny's first quarter-final here as well? Got a feeling it could be, yeah. So,
it is, yeah.
We're both in new territory, and I think the longer format will suit us both, and I think it's going to be a great game.
Okay, and how much are you looking forward to playing up there on that big stage with the crowd?
Yeah, it's great. This is my favourite venue to play at by a mile, and I think a lot of the players think that as well, and yeah, just looking forward to it.
You said in the last round when you were playing Peter that you felt a bit nervy towards the end. How do you channel those nerves when you're playing, you know, in this kind of environment?
It is hard because obviously I'd only ever won my first game this year, you know, so you know it was hard, and I knew I had a great opportunity when I was 8-4 up to really push on and get the match finished. But when you start thinking about that, you can get a bit twitchy, you know, and that happened a little bit. So I've just got, if I get in a good position tonight, I've just got to block it out and just plough on, really.
Well, there's Ryan Searle ahead of his quarter-final match with Johnny Clayton. The players have just entered the stage, but we're going to speak with Ricky Hatton a little longer here. We've had some tweets coming here. Wes, another Sky Blue fan, says, what would your walkout music be, and could it be the same as your boxing entrance music if you were a dart player? What would you come out to?
It'd have to be Blue Moon, to be honest, yeah, absolutely. You know, everyone recognised me and remembered me, you know, for the Blue Moon. I've always been a die-hard City fan. Yeah, Blue Moon all the way for me.
Well, we don't want to keep you too much longer, but can we quickly have your predictions for the games this evening? Ryan Searle v Johnny Clayton are underway now. Who do you think is going to win it?
I think Self has beat some big names, hasn't he? You know, on the way up. But so his confidence will be sky high. But he's playing. He's up against a real talent, isn't he? You know what I mean? So to be honest, so I'd probably.
Johnny Clayton.
Johnny Clayton, yeah, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, but it's a real pick and toss your coin one, to be honest. You know, he's beat some big names and everything, but yeah, I think probably Thompson, yeah.
A question here from Gary Ormiston on Twitter. He asks, which boxer would you have liked to have fought that didn't happen?
I'm very proud to say I fought most of them, didn't I? But no, I think there was a fella called Arturo Gatti years ago who was a great fighter. I think Mickey Ward, who had the trilogies with Arturo Gatti, he was a great body puncher like myself, so I think that would have been an absolute one. Miguel Cotto, that would have been another one, but yeah, they're the three, because I always like to be in good fights, and fighting one of them three would have been, couldn't help to be a barnstormer, couldn't it?
And how nice is it to see your son going into boxing, following in your footsteps, but right in his own path as well?
I get emotional every time someone says it, you know, and no one could be prouder. And I didn't want him to. I didn't want him to box. I went into boxing so he didn't have to. But he's gone into the hardest game of the hardest game in the world with me as his dad. So he deserves a pat on the back for doing that. A lot of pressure on his shoulders. But it's early days. He's 13 fights unbeaten, and all I can say to everyone is get behind him like you got behind me, because I was one of you and he's one of us.
Well, Ricky, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an honour to have you on our sofa for this watch-along. We'll bring Colin Lloyd back. We'll let you go and enjoy your evening, but thank you for joining us. Thank
Top
you,
man.
Ricky.
We'll let you watch it down there now.
You go and enjoy. Chris, quickly talk us what's going on here.
Yeah, Ryan Searle's taken the first leg, Lewis. 1-0 to Searle. Nice one, mate. Yeah, double top. To win it now, he wants 118 to win the second, but a treble 5 means that he can't finish. And Johnny Clayton himself will want the double that Searle just hit in the first leg. So tops for Clayton to level up at 1 apiece. Remember, races to 16, all square, but it is a long, long distance, as this man knows as well as anyone.
Hang on, fellas.
Lloyd, hang on. Remove that pass. There we go. He's not working for Sky anymore.
I'll tell you what, it looks like they're both a little bit nervous, doesn't it, in this game?
Well, you would have caught the walk-ons. We didn't see them because we were talking to Ricky Hatton there.
Yeah.
But how did the guys look coming on?
Both look very relaxed. You know, I think they're shown in this match.
Whoa. Oh!
So just deflecting away the last dart, just out of that treble 20.
That was a dirty deflection
It was
as well, by the way. Should have been on the 9 darter.
When you get to this stage of the tournament, fellas, this sounds really mad. But a lot of the hard work's done. You know, you've been in that back room as well, in the players' room, getting your arm hauled up, and then I think I said it last night, you just want to get out there, you just want to get on with the job. And that's exactly what these two are doing right now.
Yeah, 1 apiece. Ryan Searle, I mean, I know it's early, but Ryan Searle's averaging about 120 at the minute.
Not bad, eh? Not bad.
Struggling.
Yeah, he wants tops again. Can't find it, but Clayton not on a finish, so
Lloyd,
2-1 Searle.
We've reached that level now. I mean, 120 is mad, but even when I started with the PDC 7-8 years ago, 100, 102 was classed as a really good average. Now that is the norm, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's gone up. When everyone used to say ton plus averages, I think at some point we're going to start saying 105 plus averages, because it's kind of par for the course, isn't it, for the top players?
I sort of think, Chris, at one point we actually were saying that, weren't we, at one time? You know, you're having players coming off and they've got beat with like 105, 106, 107 average, and people wonder why then I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
My lowly 85 average, I don't think it's going to cut it.
Yeah, well, Anderson the other night, 103, 104.
103 and a half,
What
yeah.
score did he lose? He got beat, well beat, didn't he?
Was it 10-3, 10-4? 11-3,
11-4, 11-4,
yeah.
Average 102.47, got beat 11-4.
Yeah.
Ryan Searle's a name that fans at home, if you're a more casual darts fan, you might not know much about
But Gary
Ryan
actually
Searle
practices with him, doesn't he? Yeah.
compared to the rest. He throws 34-gram darts, which is possibly
Yeah,
10
I've
to
got
12
a
grams
bone
heavier.
to pick actually. Rod Stud keeps saying he should change his nickname to the Pearl or something like that just because it rhymes. But I think that Ryan Searle's got the best nickname in darts, because you can see by looking at him, he styles himself on
Double entendre.
Yeah, heavy metal, and of course the heavy metal that he chucks, I think it's perfect. And Rod Stud wants to stop meddling. Which camera, Rod? Leave it out. I've got all the trash talk now. I've had Ricky out.
Poor old Studley.
Yeah.
Listen,
You've got Ricky to back you up. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone that walks onto Ozzy Osbourne, honestly, they need to be called heavy metal.
What about Johnny Clayton's nickname, the Ferret? For those that don't know, it's something to do with his rugby days, but it sounds a bit mad in the context of darts,
it's not
isn't
quite
it?
Jaws, is it?
No.
Or like that. Yeah. Something fearsome. He's won that leg though.
Nice little 118 check out there by Johnny.
Yeah, 2-2. Yeah, do you have a favourite nickname?
Did I have a favourite?
Another player's nickname?
No, just my own.
Okay, fair enough. All about you.
Well, we're going to get behind the campaign to rename the 170 checkout to Jaws.
I think it should be called the Jaws. The Jaws.
What a start to this leg we're having here. Fifth leg, both players kicking off with a 180.
So this is turning into an absolute humdinger already.
Yeah, rip roar, isn't it?
Heavy
2-2.
scoring, great finishing. Listen, fellas, this is what darts is all about. This is what this great crowd and the crowd at home watching, this is what they love to see.
But Clayton's now had the deflection that Searle had earlier. Only 4 perfect darts from Johnny, but I mean,
Boom.
Ricky Hatton was talking about it. He said that the 22-1 and a 9 darter was too short a price, but I think we might get one.
But we talk
Can
about
we
heavy
quote you on that?
Well, yeah, go on. We'll get one in this match.
Wow.
By who?
Yeah.
It's Ryan Searle or Johnny Clayton, obviously. That's who's playing. That's how it works.
We talk about Ryan Searle's heavy metal, heavy darts, 34 grams. That deflection that came when he was on for a 6th perfect dart, his darts are big, aren't they? They're big targets to hit, and unfortunately deflections do come.
Yeah, they will do. But the thing about it is as well, he can get positives of those deflections as well. So although he didn't get the positive deflection there, sometimes when he puts a dart a little bit above, he only has to clatter the dart, and there's a big half an inch gap, and that can still ricochet straight in the double.
Well, what a start that has been to that game. Ryan Searle walking off 3-2 ahead at the first interval, averaging 109 to Johnny Clayton's 102. No sign of nerves from these two, is there?
Brilliant start, yeah. And as Ricky was saying, as Lloyd said at the start of the night, these are players that are kind of free-rolling a little bit because none of them have been here before, and they're just enjoying being on that stage, being in the position to go and win these tournaments. Neither player really under any pressure because no one's really saying they're the ones to go and win the tournament. Maybe unfairly, as you said earlier, Lewis, maybe unfairly that Johnny Clayton's not really been mentioned as much. Second favourite, maybe should be the favourite based on experience. But 3-2 at the break to Searle, and if it carries on like this, then 1, it's going to be brilliant, and 2, it's going to be quick.
Yeah, very much so.
Your friend George Sveck's been in contact once
Good
again.
old George. How's
George,
America,
thanks for
George?
joining us once again. But he asks, he knows that physical fitness, payouts and technology have all helped in the spike in averages. But what do you lot think is the biggest contributor to the higher standard now versus 20 years ago? What do you think has been the catalyst for change?
Well, Lloyd has gone off the tour, so that takes the average up a little bit, doesn't it, automatically? But
that's it. I'm done. Joe, I think what it is, Lewis, for me personally, I think the game has grown so much. Back in the 80s, it was deemed as great prize money. The guys back then, the Bristows, the Bobby Georges, the John Lowe's, the Jockey Wilsons, they were all able to earn great prize money where they could afford to buy a house outright, you know, with the prize money they've got. And then it's sort of like, when there was the split, it was as if everything sort of started again. And through the great work of the Professional Darts Corporation with Sky, the prize money is built up and up and up and up again. And you do now, Lush, you have to take it professionally. You have to take it serious. I'm not saying you have to watch what you eat, you have to go running, you have to do this, but you take the game professional. Like if you're an accountant, you don't want to muck up the books. So as a dart player, you go in, you've got to do things right. You've got to do things right and give yourself an opportunity, because the prize fund now is so big. I mean, I won the World Grand Prix in 04 on the Sunday. Tuesday morning, I was back on the building site. Now, I still earn good money, but it wasn't life-changing. Darts now can be life-changing, and you have to take it serious.
But then saying that, with Johnny Clayton, we saw, despite the fact that he was winning tournaments, he was still keeping his job to have a sort of sense of normality in his life, wasn't it? I don't think he was doing that many shifts of work, but he was still having that little break to focus on something away from darts, and that also, for some players, is very important, isn't it?
It is very much so. I mean, like I said, when I won the Grand Prix, I went back to work, and I still carried on working until Christmas. And then I made the decision at the Christmas time. I thought to myself, right, listen, I've got a nice few quid behind me now. Let's do this properly. Let's take this actually serious now, and not an in-betweeny thing. I still done things to sort of like cover my time and whatever. I didn't just, well, I probably did actually become a little bit of a couch potato and start watching daytime TV. But now the guys do go for a walk, they do go running, they do go swimming and whatever. And there's, like I say, lads, there's bundles of cash available, and it is life-changing, not only for yourself, but for your immediate family, and that means a lot. Gezi Price has said it, I think.
200 grand for winning this tournament, but what you're saying, it's not just the big events anymore, is it? 12,000 for a Pro Tour, 25,000 for a Euro Tour. Yeah. I also think, Lewis, with your question on Johnny, maybe there was a little bit of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it in there. He was winning by doing that, so there might have been a little bit of fear of becoming a full-time pro. Yeah. How he was going to spend his time, whether that winning formula would be changed and therefore would not be successful anymore.
Well, we just saw a tweet on the screen about the PDC's Ultimate Predictor game that we are running during this tournament. It gives you the opportunity to win an incredible bundle of prizes back home. Please look on our social media channels for details on that. All you have to do is guess which player will hit the most 180s throughout the night, which player will hit the highest checkout of the evening, and what that checkout will be. It sounds harder than it is, I think, because we've had 15 winners already that are entered into the pool for that ultimate prize. They could win things like a lesson with a pro.
Can we do it?
Can we enter? You could enter. Chris, if you were to predict this evening, which player's going to hit the most 180s, who's going to hit the highest checkout, and
Luke Humphries, most 180s. Johnny Clayton, highest checkout. The 160 I'm going to go for
160.
tonight.
Lloydie, what about you?
Do you know what? I agree with Murph a little bit there. Johnny Clayton's the highest shot out. Luke Humphries 180s. And I think we're going to have a
Jaws? Are we having a Jaws?
No. Been too many of them already. I'm going to say about a 146.
Well, that 170 checkout, the three that we've seen this tournament already, have helped the number of winners that we've had, because they've gone for the 170. We've seen it 3 times, and then of course trying to predict who's going to hit the most 180s. Well, Johnny Clayton just missing.
Would have been a 140.
For a 140,
yeah,
not quite your 160, Murph, but edging closer, edging closer. Yeah. So please get involved. Just keep your eyes on the PDC social media channels. Also get involved with this show. Tweet us with the hashtag WMDarts or TDS Watch Along. Give us your comments on the watch along in the YouTube channel. We'll try and answer as many questions as possible. As I said, we've got a great lineup of guests coming. Russ Bray's going to join us shortly, tell us all about his career in darts. Polly James, who's the interviewer for Sky Sports, she's come and sit on the sofa. Johnny Mack might be back shortly. He's always got a tail, Johnny Mack. So there's going to be
a while for Russ. I can hear him behind
coming
me,
out.
so.
Well, we're going to have Russ in the second half of the show. But yeah, we've got an incredible game taking place here, and Ryan Searle just missing the chance to go 4-2 up.
Honestly, Joe, what Russ is so selfish. Why can't he come up here and sort of like look at the screen and call the numbers from up here?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we don't want to promote too much working from home these days.
5-5 found by Johnny Clayton. So,
do you know? I'm going to put a question to you guys here. Do you think Ryan Searle? He's been around a little while now, Ryan. He was on the BDO side of things. Then he come over to the PDC and he showed some flashes of brilliance, I thought, using them big fat chunky darts.
yeah.
But do you think he's become battle hardened now, Murph, with the practice and with Gary Anderson, the relentless pressure of Anderson's 180s and whatever, and it's made him battle hard for a match like this?
Yeah, he's not your normal sort of sports person, is he, Ryan? So he's got an air of sort of being carefree about him. He doesn't tend to get involved in the sort of trash talk, the big antics on the stage when he takes a big out and stuff. You never see him really pumped up. He's laid back. He's got this sort of really lazy, luxurious lob in the way he throws.
It's as if he's not playing darts at home in his living room.
Doesn't care, yeah. And it's difficult to get a read on him, I think. Whether he is, he must care. He's up there playing for hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
He must care.
Yeah.
But it doesn't appear like
Doesn't show it, does it?
Just very relaxed, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that must help him. It must help him.
Yeah, well, he can't actually see where the darts land, by the way. If you ask any of the referees, I mean, you'll watch him in this game. He'll throw 3 darts towards the treble 20, and he'll be walking to the board really happy with himself, and then the ref will go 60, and like because he thought they were all in.
Yeah.
What's Jose de Souza's excuse?
No idea. That's a bit different. Well, Johnny's got a bit of that in him himself, hasn't he? The miscounting.
Yeah, I think there's a few of them that because they're not allowed to have a calculator up on the stage.
But for those at home,
4-3 to Ryan, 66 finish. Nice.
4-3 ahead. The counting side of things, obviously it's vital to keep your rhythm going, but a lot of you guys, and the referees say the same, they work off patterns, don't they?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, with darts, you work out where you're going to go for the certain shot outs. You know that you've got players like, no disrespect, and I don't mean it disrespect. You've got like the likes of Simon Whitlock, Rob Cross. They've got their own ways of going. Like say 151, I go like what I call the old school ways, be treble 20, treble 17 tops. Rob Cross, he loves his treble 18. He'll go treble 18, treble 19 tops, and it's just little fandangled ways. They've got their own little ways of going, and some might say that's the right way to go. At the end of the day, me personally, I think you just go whatever way you're comfortable with. You go for the shot the way you're comfortable.
There's some new school sort of counting as well, isn't there? Where say like 2-7-1 players will start on the 19s.
Yeah.
Treble 19, single 19, then go for the bull. 101 leaves the jaws.
Yeah.
But yeah, things like that. It's not just the checkouts, is it? It's further out in the leg.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, mate. You look back in history, like on YouTube, and you watch Johnny Clayton there take out a 1-2-1 on the ball.
That's the finish that should be named after him, isn't it? By the way.
Yeah. I mean, you look at years ago, for 2-6-6. You would never ever in the 80s see a player start down, get the 76 and go up for the 20. They'd just try and murder the treble 20. And even if the 20 and the treble 20, you think, right, straight away now, Merv, we say, don't be 19. Well, I've got to stop talking now because it's just a barrage of scores.
They don't need to count, do they? Just keep it in the treble 20.
Hang on,
we haven't seen one missed in this leg yet.
Into treble 5 once again, Ryan Searle.
Get rid of them fat darts.
Come on then, Johnny's got a chance still. Right, carry on. What were you saying?
Carry on. Back into the ones there for
No,
Johnny.
but it's a case of, like you say, things have evolved now. For me, with darts, I always just thought, and I have to keep saying about myself, fellas, I don't want to blow me trumpet.
We can't talk about our careers, so
for me,
it
was just about, I just tried to keep things simple, just simplicity. And my simplicity counting wasn't always good for the way other people count. But that's just the way I'd done it. But like you say, Chris, there's not new fandangled ways. I don't mean it like that, but they've got their own ways of going these days.
Tweet there from Reece Marsh saying this Ryan Searle tournament performance reminds him very much of Ross Smith at the European Championships last year. That tournament for Ross kind of come out of nowhere, but all of a sudden it elevated him when he won that to a new level.
Yeah.
This can do the same for Ryan
I think
Searle,
people forget that Searle probably should have been a major winner already. He was really in a good position in that Players' Championship finals, wasn't he, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Peter Wright beat him. Such a dangerous player. I agree, Kev. Hashtag dangerous.
Yeah. Opportunity here now for Johnny Clayton to break and then possibly throw for a 6-4 lead to go into the second break. That's a big, big dart. We say it, fellas, we said it last night, so early on in the match, that could prove pivotal. You know, if he kicks off here now 140, 180 on his own throw, he'll fancy himself to go into this next break 6-4 up.
Never met on a stage before, by the way, these two players. All of the 5 meetings on the floor. 3-2 to Searle, the head-to-head. We've had some really good games as well, both players averaging over 100. In fact, Clayton lost with a 102.69 average the last time they met.
Wow.
But this run for Ryan Searle so far, and if he beats Johnny Clayton here, to beat Raymond van Barneveld, Peter Wright, who I know hasn't been quite himself recently, but still a huge name, and then Johnny Clayton, to reach the semi-finals, it doesn't get much tougher than that, does it?
Good point. Can I change my 180 pick as well? Because Ryan Searle is hitting them for fun here. In fact, both players are. 4 apiece, is it now? Yeah, 4 each.
Well, you made a point earlier, and the comments coming in, one from Wayne, saying about all that practice with Gary is paying off for Searle. I mean, playing and practicing every day with someone like Gary Anderson, it's got to be beneficial,
Actually practice at the venue here one day this week as well, which is probably unheard of for Anderson. Yeah, it must be. Were you a fan of sparring partners, or did you always practice by yourself?
Listen, mate, I always practice with anyone who wants to listen to me. Ryan Searle fires back a 1-2-1 into Johnny Clayton. So we're going to go into this second mini session. That's nice to see. Respect that is, fellas. Absolute respect. They know they're both in a humdinger, both in a battle here. Yeah, each of this second mini session now.
Little embrace before they left the stage there. Johnny Clayton, he's a lovely bloke, but
I love that as well. Both players, look, people like me and you, Lloyd has been there and done it, but people like me and you sit here because we're darts fans. And when you watch players that have got the gift that has been denied us, Lewis, and they're shaking their head and they look like the most miserable people in the world, I want to see them play with a smile on their face and actually looking like they're enjoying being up there in the heat of battle, and that's what these two are doing.
We saw Searle there just nodding, a little smile over towards his family, who I presume are here with him, down in the area down there.
I think he knew that was quite important there. Where he got broke there, I think he did think to himself, you know what, I can't really let that slip. I really do need to try and hopefully break back, and he did. He stuck in the storm room a leg and broke back.
Well, Lloydie, I believe, unless Murphy's swapping out, Polly James is going to come join us. She's just going to come take a seat now. Lloydie, you stay here. You've had enough breaks this evening. Polly, pop those on for us. Pop your headset on there. Can you hear us loud and clear?
Yes,
you can hear us loud and clear. Polly, welcome to the Dart Show Watch Along. We are live on the official PDC YouTube page. So no swearing, no swearing.
Yeah, no swearing, okay, fine. We're good,
so,
we're good.
Welcome along.
Thank you. Where's the Chinese? You promised me Chinese.
Well, we know that you like to have a Chinese watching the darts. You've been a darts fan for years, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, and when I watch the darts at home on my sofa, I usually have a huge Chinese. And it's what I'm known for now on Twitter, because I put the darts on, I'm like, here it is, guys.
Well, we provided the sofa, Polly, but unfortunately we haven't provided the Chinese. We've got a bottle of water instead.
I think once the budget goes up and we do this again, Lloydie, the snacks should come. I mean, last night when you kept leaving us, you didn't bring anything back.
Well, that was true. You kept saying to me, where have you been, Lloyd? You didn't bring nothing. I said, listen, tea and biscuits downstairs, bit of pizza and wow. I was enjoying it.
Poor Chris was wasting away. Well, please get your comments and questions in for Polly. She'll be asking as many as she can as soon as possible. But Polly, tell us, how did you go from being your darts fan and your job as a radio presenter to getting involved with Sky and being an interviewer here at the darts?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just, again, on Twitter, I was just very, very mouthy about the darts, and I think, we'll get her in to interview players, I think. So, I mean, yeah, it was as simple as that, really. I remember I started working for Unibet, the Premier League of darts, at first, and just for their social channels, and asking the questions, and you know, I like to keep it a bit light-hearted, and you know, as a fan, really, I don't want to lose sight of what it's like to be a fan of the darts. So yeah, I keep it light-hearted, keep it fun, and yeah,
So
I love it. I love it.
what's the most enjoyable part of your role and the most difficult as well?
The difficult bit is just making sure that I do it justice. I know I'm in a really privileged position, you know. I know there's, you know, darts means so much to a lot of people, and I know that to be the first person there, the first port of call for these players after they've won a huge tournament is just amazing. I got to pinch myself at the time, and obviously that doubles up as the best part as well.
The thing about it as well, Lewis, is Polly does it, and she does it in I'm not just saying it, she does it in a very professional manner. Because the thing about it is you really have to get the trust of the players. Because like Polly just said, you've just come off in the heat of battle, and sometimes she's had the job of interviewing someone when they've actually got beat.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be there, you just want to be off and away and on your toes, you know. So when you get that respect of the players, you have to earn that. You're not giving it, and I think Polly's earned that.
That's got to be one of the hardest parts of the role, as Colin says, dealing with that raw emotion from the players as they've just left the stage. Has there been any times where it's perhaps not gone as you expected? You can tell us, go on.
I'm glad I never had to interview you. No, I'm joking. You would have been brilliant. No, not really. I mean, you get some players, you know, it just means so much to them, and you know, the adrenaline is so pumped. And actually, I was talking to Luke Humphreys today, just before the match later on now. So, and he was saying he can't really remember too much on the stage. So you've got to think, you're talking to these guys, they're buzzing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The adrenaline's so high. I think they just
They're in the zone.
They're still in the zone, and like, you know, we all work within media. We're sort of semi-used to the bright lights. These guys probably aren't. Do you know what I mean? And yeah,
they're just going up there to do their job.
Yeah, and the media stuff is like, you know, an added extra. So yeah, I mean, no, they're all brilliant. I love it, and I love the challenge if someone is a little bit ropey or whatever, you know. So yeah.
So taking your professional hat off for a second, and as a fan,
Yeah.
is the Matchplay one of your favourite tournaments, and
Yeah,
why?
one of my favourite tournaments. I love Ali Pali as well. I know this sounds so bad. I love Ali Pali because that was the first live darts event that I went to. But I came to Blackpool last year, and it will always hold a very special place in my heart because I was 8 months pregnant working. I was 8 months pregnant working, and I just had the best time. It's brilliant. You can't beat this crowd, can you?
You can't.
And they're full of real darts fans as well. And what I love about the match play as well is that Blackpool is like just turns into a darts city, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? During the match play.
It gets overtaken by a number of darts fans. You walk around, when darts is on anywhere, you walk around, you see people in fancy dress. If you didn't know the darts was going on, you would think, what has happened in Blackpool?
I kind of feel I need to go to the, is it called the Trilogy? Is that the club here?
Trilogy Club,
the Trilogy Club. I mean, that's the place to be in Blackpool during the darts, right? So I don't know.
When all the fans decamp out of here, they go straight to Trilogy.
You've been there this week, right?
Do you not have like a residency there or something, like during the match play?
Strictly in a professional capacity, right?
Listen, mate,
you weren't out socialising, having a good time.
I haven't been there once, I've been there twice, and I've loved it.
When Colin Jaws Lloyd's in town, you make sure you book him out. So, Polly.
Yeah.
Prediction then for the tournament. I know it's difficult with your professional role, but are you backing Johnny Clayton, your man from Wales?
Do you know what? Well, here's the thing. Like, I have to try and remain neutral, but I've never been able to do that.
You don't have to remain neutral in here, Polly.
Okay,
you support
fine. Well, look, obviously, I'm going to say Johnny. I think he's one of the nicest men in darts, but also Ryan Searle as well. I've got a soft spot for him. Metal, let's go.
Of course, it's perfect timing because you host your radio show on XFM.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So Ryan Searle, he must resonate with you somewhat.
So me and Ryan have had our chats about music, and we both have the same favourite band basically, and he listens to the same music before he comes out as I would listen to if I was a darts player, I reckon. So, I don't know. I hope Johnny. We know Johnny's going through some tough times at the moment. I hope that sort of galvanises him, and I hope he does it for his family this week. But then I also think it's Ryan Searle's time as well, and he really deserves it. There's this like underlying confidence. I've never seen him play like this before. I don't know about you. He just seems like I'm ready for it now.
Well, we were just saying, weren't we, Lewis, when Murph was in that. We wonder if it's the Gary Anderson effect that he's become battle hardened now because he practices with Gary. And being on the end of 180s and 140s and big shot outs, it's just become battle hardened now.
Yeah.
But Polly, as a Welshwoman, darts is quickly becoming the national sport, is it not? Two-time World Cup champions.
Yes, we need something to take over rugby. No, it is. It's awesome. It's wicked that Gezi and obviously Johnny and all the other guys coming through as well, and women are shining a spotlight on Wales. We're firmly on the map when it comes to darts. So yeah, it's wicked.
You mentioned the women there. We are going to have the Women's World Match Play on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
Another huge opportunity for 8 women to
stake
stake a claim to get their hands on the World Match Play trophy. We saw Fallon do it last year.
Yeah.
We've got Bo Greaves coming through this year.
Don't talk to me about the women, because Bo is my gal,
Ooh. But it's an amazing opportunity, isn't it? Isn't it, for the women to play on this stage?
It's huge. It was like last year we were here as well, and it was just they went through everything that the men go through, and what you don't see behind the scenes is like they come in really early, they do all the media, and that's what the women experienced as well. They were like doing what the men do, which is what they should be doing. They went through all the media, they went through all the press bits, and it was lovely to see.
They do it all in a professional manner. There's a fantastic opportunity being created for them, they go to they go through the same sort of things that the men have to. They have to go to their Pro Tour events. It's basically about qualification for a major. And they've done all that, like you say, Paul, they've done all the hard work. They come here, they are professional. They come here, they do everything that's asked of them, same as what the chaps do. And they go out there and they put a great show on. And I'm really looking for. I'm spotting the ladies actually in the afternoon for Sky.
You've also commentated on it on the women's series, haven't you? So
I have.
You've seen those Pro Tour events for the women. You've seen how the game has grown so quickly as well.
I've been fortunate, Lewis, that I've seen I don't want to say it like this, but I've seen the old school generation, but I've also seen the new talent coming through. Fallon Sherrick, Bo Greaves, Makura Suzuki, and they are absolutely outstanding. And that's what we've had in the chaps game is about stepping stones and making the game bigger and better. And they're carrying on that tradition from the old school players. I class myself as an old school player. I couldn't go up and compete against these guys now. And that's
you could.
but that's what happens in sport. You want it to get bigger and better, and that's certainly happened. It's certainly happening in the ladies' championships.
Polly, talk to us about that moment that Fallon won at Ali Pali. It was a breakthrough moment for women's darts, and of course a word for Lisa Ashton as well, getting her tour card, an incredible achievement. And darts is one of those sports where there are no barriers to entry. And it's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible for Lisa to have done that, and for that moment for Fallon and for the women's game to really get elevated in that instance there.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like we can talk really deep about this. I've got a daughter, and I wanted to have every opportunity in the world, and just visualization in sport is just so important. Like me growing up, I'm an 80s girl when I was mid 80s I was born, and growing up it was like, no, you do not play football, for example. I mean, but now it's, you can see it and you can believe it, and I want to be that person. I can be that person because I see it, and you see Fallon on the stage, you see Bo on the stage, and all, Lisa, for example, getting her tour card. It's there to see, and it's within reach as well.
There's no restrictions anymore.
No, not at all.
Like the Ladies World Cup.
Exactly.
In the soccer, and the nice thing about it is like you said, Polly, if your daughter wants to say, Mum,
can I play this?
I'd like to play football.
Yeah, there's teams and there's accessibility. It's brilliant. And I think darts. You're going to have. And this is why the match play for the women's is brilliant, because creating these opportunities will only get more people into the darts, and to have it on Sky prime time under the bright lights is great.
Well, please keep your comments coming in and your questions for Polly and for Lloydie. Lloydie, quickly run us through what's happening in the game before we lose track of the game that's unfolding ahead of us.
You need to let me know what's going on. I've got to interview one of those in a minute.
Listen, we're 7-7 at the minute.
Right, okay.
We said it was going to be a tight game, didn't we? They're still keeping up that high standard, both still averaging over 100, piling in 180s. And we said it was going to be a great game, Lewis, didn't we, at the beginning? And it's proven that way. Neither guy's taken a step back. We saw just before in that second little session. Johnny got the break, but
Yeah.
Ryan steps straight back in,
Yeah.
and it's just, I think it's going to go right the way to the nitty-gritty. 3-2, 3-2, 2-3, 2-3, 3-2, 3-2.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
like
just-
cat and mouse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, I don't think. I think everyone thinks Johnny's going to grab this, but Ryan's not going to let this go without a fight. The only thing I worry about with Ryan is just like this long format. If he can beat Johnny over this long format, that is something really special.
Totally agree with it.
Oh, that cheeky little wink. Love him. Love him.
Ryan Searle leaving the stage at 8-7 up at the break again.
Yeah. I mean, we said, didn't we, that Ryan, he goes about his business in an unassuming way. But he just took that leg to take the lead for an 8-7 at the break, and there was a little bit of a fist pump. And you don't really get that from Ryan, you know. He does little snippets, but you can see that means so much to him because, and that's a respectful thing because he knows how good Johnny is, and he knows he's got to keep up this momentum and keep up this performance if he's to get through to the semi-finals.
Yeah.
Colin, we've spoke to your love for the match play and for the World Championships, but what other events are your favourites? Is it Premier League in Cardiff?
I love the Premier League in Cardiff. Yeah, I love it.
I teed that one up. I thought it might have been.
I was saying to your colleague Jamie the other day, because he was like, I need to have a drink at a darts event one year. Or like, you know, because I don't think he ever has. And I was like, you need to come to Cardiff. I was like, it's a brilliant night out. Everyone knows in Cardiff when the darts turn up, because everyone is just on it. I mean,
It's a strange one for us that work on it year round.
I
Lloyd,
know.
you included. We follow it around the whole world. We're off to Australia and New Zealand in a couple of weeks, but we've never been as the fan experience.
You need to.
Which
You
is
need to
quite
go
crazy
as a
to see.
punter. You need to go as a punter, and so because it's just.
But we can certainly see what it's all about. And tonight, the crowd are having a very good time, aren't they?
It's good that you say that, Lewis. Funny enough, over the years, obviously, me being up on there, I never sort of like sat out there. And I thought, I don't really want to. But a few times I have sat out in the crowd, I think, I quite like this. And someone says, Colin, I've got you a beer. No, I really don't want it. The next thing you know, about an hour.
But I think, you know, like I was alluding to earlier, to have the job that I do, I think it's important to live that fan life as well, because you're ultimately talking to the fans. You never want to be more entitled than them, you know? I don't know. Yeah.
And we touched on it last night, Holly, that with the players, you've always got to remember about those people out there. You know, they're not just fans, they're people, they've been working hard all week for months on end to purchase their hotel room, purchase their ticket, because they're just genuine. They just love coming to the darts and they want to be involved in it. And so we always have to make sure we look after the fans.
Never lose sight of what it's like to be a fan. Always buy the ticket, put yourself in their shoes, and then you feel you can speak to them on their level as well, you know.
Polly, as a fan, when did that fandom of darts first start for you?
So, I mean, look, when I was younger, we used to watch at Christmas all the time. So that was it. And I'll be honest, it was as casual as that. At Christmas, it was darts, which I feel like a lot of British households, that was the same.
Christmas ain't Christmas about the
well,
darts.
exactly. It was like that. You know, I vividly remember, like, my mum and, like, all my family and my uncles, like, sitting there just watching the darts. Anyway, but when I got with my other half, I mean, like, 16 years ago, 17 years ago now, huge fan of the darts. Started watching it every major tournament on Sky. I guess when we first got together, maybe, you know, as I say, 16 years ago, we went to Ali Pali. My birthday's on the 27th of December, so this is my go-to, like, celebration. So, and we went there, and I sort of got the bug from that first Ali Pali date, you know, and I was just like, this is amazing. And
have you got a particular game that sticks in your mind as your favourite that you've ever watched?
So Michael van Gerwen with the almost double nine darter.
Right.
That one does, because I remember watching that, and ever since then I have never, well, actually I have now, but I'd never ever seen a nine darter after that, and I always felt like cursed, because they would always come on the telly or come when I was like not working. And then so that one, I remember that, like, you know, MVG magic in his prime.
So come on, Paul, who's been your favourite over the years? When you first started watching darts, who was your favourite? Who did you follow?
So, well, all the Welsh. Well, I mean, like, I wasn't watching them back in the 70s, but all the Welsh, all the Welsh guys, because, you know, as you say, like, you know, Wales have been put on the map at the moment with the Welsh guys and stuff.
So did you follow Richie Burnett, Mark Webster and people like that?
Richie Burnett is like one of my favourites. There's the most brilliant interview, right? Anyone watching, there's the most brilliant interview. It was done by Dave Allen. Right. This must have been maybe back in, I can't remember what it was, but he had got through to the quarterfinals at the Worlds, and so Dave's saying, "Congratulations, you got through to the Worlds. This is like, through to the quarters of the Worlds. This is fantastic for you." And he was like, "Oh, you're joking me. I bloody love Boxing Day. Oh, I'm fuming. This is my Boxing Day's fuming. There's 2 days that I love every year: Firework Night and Boxing Day, and it's ruined for me." And Dave's just like, "What?" Anyway, yeah, I love Richie Burnett.
Joe, I think I remember that.
He is so funny.
I'll tell you what, that was 2003.
Was it? Yeah, 2003. Yeah,
wow, it was 2003 because I was the one that played him in the quarterfinals.
Are you kidding me?
That's true.
And what was the result?
I won.
Well, there we go. Maybe he was thinking about Boxing Day.
So that whole
he put his foot down and got back to Wales to enjoy Boxing Day.
Johnny Clayton there, just level with the 1-2-4 on the bullseye. Back level at 8-8. Important to get that first leg after the break again, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, like we keep saying, we knew there was going to be some longevity in this game. Both guys are not taking a step back. Where Ryan's gone off there, he's obviously had the throw, so he's gone off 8-7 up. Well, Johnny's going to think to himself now, right, next break, I want to be 10-9 up because he's got the throw. It's just a matter now, I think, of if someone can get a break or maybe 2 breaks, breaking a hold and try and keep that momentum going, because that's all it's going to take. But it's getting that break and that hold.
Keep your questions coming in for Polly. We're going to have it just for a couple more moments because you're going to have to go watch the rest of this game and interview one of these after the match.
I know. It's like, as you say, I'm kind of thinking like, who's not going to crumble first? That sounds terrible, but who is going to crack first, really? Yeah. And is this like, I always wonder, like on these long formats, like the cardiovascular endurance. Do you need? Is that a thing? Do you need it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Sometimes,
like the survival of the fittest.
Sometimes we've been chatting, Polly, funnily enough, haven't we, Lloyd, about, especially last night, Chris Dobie done it. Just stayed up on the stage.
Oh, okay,
Sometimes you want to break and you think, come on, I just want to get off the stage for a minute and just try and recompose yourself. But then there are times where I don't want to break. Please don't. But it's too late. You have to have that break.
Okay,
so
I get you.
It's one of them sort of things. You know the break's going to come after 5. You're told before you go up there, breaks 5, 10, 15, 20 legs, and then we're down to a winner. So you know that beforehand. But there are times where you're in a battle like this. One, it might be beneficial for one of the players. 2, you ain't getting it. You've got to battle through now to the end.
So, Polly, last question before we let you go.
Yeah.
What event that you've either not worked at or not been to as a fan is on your...
That's a break. That could be the big.
Oh, here we go.
Could be a big leg. That was a break. Sorry, Lewis.
All good. The darts is the most important thing.
Did you see? He's like, whew, I've done it.
So there, Johnny Clayton moving into a 9-8 lead. And as you say, breaks at this period of the match. Very crucial, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean,
it's just relief, isn't it? At that point, because you're like, thank God, someone's done it.
But this is the way you want to start a leg that you need to hold. A nice steady little ton. Right, come on, let's see what we can do now.
Ooh.
It's getting exciting, isn't it? It's getting exciting. We don't know what to say now.
Sel does have a few of those, doesn't he? When he's aiming at that triple 20 that drift on into the 5 or deflect, as we were talking about his large darts, the heavy metal barrels.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is a leg now. Johnny will be thinking to himself, listen, if I can go 10-8 up here, I've still got one more leg where I could go 11-9 up into the break. That's the cushion that I was just trying to explain. That's that little bit of cushion that gives you that little bit of breathing space.
Well, before we get down to a finish, before we let you go, I'll finish that question. Which event is on your darting bucket list that you've not been to or not worked at?
I mean, I'd love to join you guys in New York. That would be pretty decent. I mean, in Australia.
You're speaking to the wrong people.
I honestly, I still pinch myself that I'm here in black. Like, this is the mecca of darts, isn't it? And Ali Pali as well. I couldn't believe I was there doing the semi-final, and it sounds daft because, you think, oh, professional, she's a reporter, it's what she does, but this is like, I love the darts, and it's, and to be sat here with you guys is cool,
Polly, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure, thank you
Catch
so much.
Polly on Sky, interviewing the winner from this game and the winner from our second quarter-final that's coming, Heta versus Humphreys. It's a huge night of darts. Polly, Thank you very much. We'll
Pleasure.
see you hopefully tomorrow or maybe on finals night.
Yes,
If you can pop
let's
in,
do it again.
That would be
Well,
great.
chips, chicken balls, and noodles.
We might be relying on you to bring those.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
but as long as there's something, like, brilliant.
Perfect.
We'll entice you in with some Chinese. But Chris is going to join us once again, talk us through things. But Lloydie, we're talking about this. Oh, hang on, we've nearly lost the headphones there. Sorry
we
if that,
nearly lost Polly
that
then.
was a bit loud for you at home. A lot of wires going on here.
Big leg, that mate. Big leg. That's the one. That's the one that's going to hurt. I think that's putting 10-8 up, and now we'll be thinking to himself, even if Ryan holds here, Johnny will be thinking to himself, you can't help but think to yourself, right? If I just hold my next throw, he'll be pushing like mad here to try and get a break here. But other than that, he'll be thinking to himself, right, just hold my throw. I'll go in at 11-9 at worst. But that's easier said than done, obviously.
Chris,
Hello,
welcome back.
All right.
It's going all right, this, isn't it? It's a very, very good game.
Been enjoying it, yeah. It's such a good game. We did say we felt that at least one of the matches had gone much closer tonight, and this one has just been blow for blow all the way through. Clayton with that little cushion. But the standard hasn't really dropped from Dart 1 in this match. Really, really good stuff.
So Johnny Clayton's still averaging just over 100. Ryan Searle's dropped ever so slightly, but it's hardly a big jump, is it? He's just below 97, 98. Incredible standard. We've had a few tweets saying this has got the hallmarks of a classic. The match play in particular, these long format games really can produce some incredible games. We've had loads over the years.
Yeah, and this could go even longer than the 16 legs, of course. We've had a few. Did you ever get involved in any that went extra time?
I don't think I did it. I did in the world, but I don't think I did here.
We had that amazing final, didn't we, versus Anderson and Suljevic it was a few years ago.
Do you like the tie-break as a player? Obviously, it extends the match, which is not ideal, but for the fans, it's amazing, isn't it? It adds that extra jeopardy.
Do you know what, honestly? I've got to be truthful. I don't like it.
No.
If it's first to 10, it's first to 10. First to 11,
even
first to 11.
as a fan watching on?
If you've got to 10 and you've won, in my eyes, you've won 10-9,
right?
Why should you give the guy another opportunity? You said it was first to 10. You said it was first to 11, first to 16. Yes, it's great for the fans.
Yeah.
But put yourself in, say, my shoes or their shoes when you're up there. It says first to 10. So do it first to 10. That's quite cutthroat, isn't it? Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Ruthless Lloydie.
Yeah, but the drama it can create. Although, of course, when you were playing, they hadn't introduced the rule where it cuts off, had they? You could have just carried on playing and playing and playing.
I think it was a number of years ago. The afternoon session went right over Della. Della and Sean Downs. It went to something like 21-19 or something like that. And they had to get it over and done with because it was like 20 minutes before the evening session started. No one had time for any lunch or anything. Well, the crew anyway. Yeah, it went to something like 21-19.
Yeah, so now that's one of the reasons they changed it, so it cuts off a maximum of 5 extra legs, isn't it?
But as fans, Murph, for me and you, working in the sport as well, for the drama it creates, I think it's really special, especially in finals.
When ganging up on me.
We are a little bit. But I know as a player, you want to win that game. You want to get off stage, don't you?
Yeah. You are right in what you say. I totally agree with that. The drama that it can create, and this swing, especially in a game like this, swinging backwards and forwards. You know.
Yeah. This one, I think, it's destined to go that far. I'm not sure about the second match tonight, whether or not, if Humphreys goes, he goes. I think for Hector to be in this kind of position, as Clayton does get that 11-9 lead at the break, I think for Hector to be in this kind of position, Humphreys has to not be at his best, and that's no disrespect to Dermot at all, but I just think Humphreys has got a much higher A game and B game than Dermot Hector. In this one, I can still see it going deep into extra time.
Well, reminder that if you interact with us on the official YouTube page this evening, in the comments or on Twitter, we are going to be picking a winner of our favourite interaction. You can win a signed programme from the 2 finalists from the 30th Betfred World Matchplay. We think that's a great prize. And also get involved in our Ultimate Predictor for the ultimate prize bundle. As a darts fan, it looks incredible. You could win a lesson with a pro, learn some tips from the best. You know, it's a great prize. So that'll be available again for tomorrow. The tweet on screen now shows you what you need to do to enter. It's very simple. There'll be a small form for you to fill in with your details and your predictions. It's very simple. You can win the ultimate darts prize that we've created here at the PDC.
So at the moment, Ryan Searle's got 7 180s. Highest checkout is Johnny Clayton with a 124. I think that's going to get beaten, don't you?
I think it will, yeah. Yeah, I think now, well, I think it's just got to a point where they're scoring so heavy now in this match. I'm not so sure that we're going to see the big shots because they're going 140, 180, 90 odd. They're going to start picking up the 70s and 80s shot outs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a credit to both them guys because they're hitting heavy at the minute.
You don't often see big checkouts unless they're needed, do you? In game. You actually asked Ricky Hatton when he was on the sofa earlier a good question, and he was sort of saying if you lose a few legs early, it can be a bit like a boxing match because you start to feel a little bit disorientated. But I would kind of put those massive checkouts akin to the knockout blows, the big hits you're going to need to get yourself back into the fight.
Yeah, Lloyd, how much does it hurt when you've played well in a leg, you're down to an easy finish, and you see a 161 fly in against you? It must be, you must just be thinking, come on.
Listen, mate, I've got a handprint of Phil Taylor on the cheek of my backside because he got smacked so many times. There's nothing you can do about it. You've got 3 darts, they've got 3 darts, and I used the word I think quite a bit last time. It's demoralising. It's demoralising. You're pushing hard, and like we said, I can reflect back last night, like the Darryl Gurney games. Darryl was trying to push, but when Joe keeps cleaning up and Darryl's had a good leg, you think to yourself, it goes back to the running out of legs again. And all of a sudden, it feels like you've got a ton of weight on your shoulder. All of a sudden, you start getting bogged down, and it hurts. It really hurts. You think to yourself, right, I'm sitting on a nice comfortable shot at 81. I've got 140, 140, 140. I'm sitting on 81. Just give me a pop. Bang, bang, bang. And you just think to yourself, and then the next leg you go 140, 180 ton. And they go bang, bang, bang. And you think, but there's nothing you can do about it. Well, even though it hurts you, there's nothing you can do.
I mean, everybody knows how good Phil Taylor was here. It's his tournament, alongside the World Championship, of course. 16-time champion. His name is now on the trophy. In fact, we have got the clip we can show you shortly of the last time that he won here at the match play. But do you think it still doesn't get talked about enough just how dominant he was here and dominant in that period of darts? We'll take a look now, actually, at that moment when he won his 16th title here at the back.
And this one was the best one of the lot, wasn't it? Because he was written off that year. He'd announced his retirement. Everyone knew that it wasn't happening, and he was absolutely fantastic, Taylor. To win this tournament in his final year, Lloydie, I mean, what a fitting, remarkable moment for the man to make it, as Lewis just said, 16 world titles and 16 match plays.
Like you said, he was written off, and I think with Peter Wright at that stage in his career, I think he had so much respect for Phil in that final that he did feel a little bit overawed by it all. But that's not to say that Phil was absolutely clinical as ever. And, you know, do we forget him? I don't think we do, but times move on. You know, you'll never forget what he done for the game as a whole. You know, he was the one that created the opportunities, like we spoke about earlier, where the big prize money's come in. You know, and I got to compete against him, John Park, Dennis Priestley, and all people like that. I don't think we were slouchers.
No, not at all.
We were good players, but he just had that game where he could absolutely dominate it. And, you know,
his numbers here, the runs that he went on here, I think he went something like 50 or 60 games unbeaten, just winning the title year after year. Of course, the trophy is now called the Phil Taylor Trophy, which is very fitting. Look, if Michael van Gerwen can't get near his level of success in terms of the big titles, then no one's ever going to, are they?
No, I don't think they will. No, that's just how dominant he was. And let's be fair, Chris, over like a 10, 12-year period, Michael dominated himself. But there were players with Michael that, and again, I'm not being disrespectful, like for myself, Rod Harrington, Warrener, Priestley, whatever, they nicked the odd few. Whereas with Michael, there's been other players. Michael's gone out early. You've had more names on trophies. You haven't had like on this one, Phil Taylor, Phil Taylor, Phil Taylor, Phil Taylor, Phil Taylor, James Wade, Phil Taylor, Phil Taylor, Phil Taylor. And, you know, but that says to me, though, Chris, how professional that Phil was. he was professional and organised about the way he went about his business as a professional darts player. That's my living. This is where I earn my income. And I remember him saying it one time. He said, listen, if you want to beat me, practice harder.
Yeah.
Do what I do. Make sacrifices. And yeah, that hit home, I think, to a few people.
Shows how hungry he was as well, doesn't it? The longevity to keep doing it year after year, tournament after tournament.
2017, because I know it's like 6 years ago and whatever, he had absolutely nothing whatsoever to prove as to what he's achieved and what he's done for the sport of darts. But he still went up into this event and put on a dominant display. And that was the professionalism of the man. And I'm pleased to say that I had my battles with him. Don't get me wrong, I got tanned a good few times. But you learn from it. And he always had kind words about me. And we still chat now. We still do exhibitions together. And listen, like I know people say it a lot of times, when you get legends in a sport, he is a legend.
Yeah.
You know, his record speaks for itself. Not just here, but in the World Championship and in the game overall.
By the way, for those guys who aren't actually watching along and are just watching us trying to keep updated on the darts, Johnny Clayton has just taken out 100 to go 12-9 up now. So it's the biggest gap we've had in the game, Lloydie. Is it starting to go the ferret's way?
Yeah, I mean, you were out there. We had Polly in at the time, and I was trying to say then, where he got that break, I said if he holds now, it shouldn't make too much difference. Because he wanted to go into that break 11-9 up. He's not only gone into that break 11-9 up, he's 12-9 up now, and he's starting to push now. You know, like we said, he's still averaging well above 100, and Ryan's just dropped off that little bit as he pokes in 2 treble 20s. But it's down to Ryan now to try and up it again, try and get a couple of legs back. But I think Johnny's in that sort of mood now, where he has got that gap to push on.
Bullseye if he wants to go for it for the 1-2-2. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think he's got it in the bag here.
Yeah, there's a big sigh of relief there. Big sigh of relief at 13. He's got that 4-leg gap now, you know. We did say, I think we said at the start, and I think you actually did agree with me, which was nice. Did say, didn't we? We both agreed on it, that Johnny has got the experience of the big stage, of playing in a situation like this, and that's no way being disrespectful towards Ryan. I think he's got a major in him. I don't know what major it's going to be, but he's shown the class that he can be and the class that he is. But just at this moment in time, Johnny's got a little bit more experience at this late stage.
And does 120 something. He's had a 1-2-1, a 1-2-4, now a 1-2-2.
Yeah.
They're the finishers that he just gets so often.
It's weird, isn't it, that certain players sort of get associated with finishes like that. There's a term among darts fans and darts pundits and you guys about James Wade, when he's in that checkout range, sort of 1-2-1 down to 100.
Yeah.
You almost know it's going to go, and people call it wading. But for Johnny Clayton, those sorts of finishes, especially when they finish on the bullseye, he's absolutely brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of sort of playing with data around that, because he always goes for it as well. So a lot of players there might not have gone for the bullseye in that situation, but he just goes for it every time. So that he's going to hit it more frequently just because he will always go for the bull when he leaves it. But yeah, he's incredible in that range. And I think exactly as we said, I mean, I did agree with you, Lloyd, because I quite like being right, to be honest. And we did say that we felt that Clayton could sustain it for longer than So could, and that's what's happened so far, although he has just pulled the leg back.
Question that may seem a bit stupid, but does a 4-leg lead that Johnny Clayton did have, a 3-leg lead at this stage, does it feel a lot worse psychologically when it's later in the game than if you went 4-0 down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
it might seem obvious, but
yeah. At the start of a match, you know, like we said it last night, fellas, didn't we? Darryl Gurney. Right, it's 5-0 down, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
You're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, and it's like what I said last night. You start running out of legs. You know, Johnny nicks. If Johnny takes this one now, holds his throw, he's up to 14. He's only 2 legs away. Ryan's got you can't help but think. You think, I'm running out of time here, I'm running out of time. And that puts pressure on them.
The great John Part, he always says that his golden rule is that you are in trouble when they are closer to the finish line than you are to them. So right now, this one is perfectly in the balance. So 3 behind Clayton, but Clayton 3 from the finish line.
all of a sudden, if Johnny Clayton holds here 2 away.
Yeah.
It is ominous signs for Ryan Searle.
And the thing about it is with Johnny, he won't stutter at the finishing line. He knows how to get over that winning line.
Been there, done it, got many T-shirts.
Well, Lloyd, in the break, and we want the fans at home to tell us your top 5 players. We're going to take and discuss your top 5 players of all time. So please send in your comments of your top 5 list of all time. We're going to make sure we go through all of those. The best one I think we'll pick for the signed programme. We'll discuss the fans' top 5s, but we'll also take a look at yours. And Murph, maybe tomorrow we'll have a little look at your top 5, because I'm sure you'll have some disagreements. You played in an era with some incredible players I'm sure are going to make your list.
Yeah.
Where Murph, you might think some of the more modern guys have usurped those guys, those older pros. But have a little think about that at home. Send us in your top 5 list of all-time players. Lloydie, we'll take a look at yours soon. But first, we've got the small matter of ending this quarter-final and seeing which person is through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, 60 left for Clayton here to get that 4-leg cushion again. Tops. In it goes. No sign of buckling.
Clinical, absolutely clinical. And just it's just a 60 finish. But it's a clean 60 finish. There's no sort of like 2 20s and a double 10. It's just 20, pop. And that eats away at you. A little shake of the head there by Ryan. You know, is he starting to think now, Murph, that the writing's on the wall?
Yeah, he's not enjoying it as much as he was earlier on, but you look at the level as well. I know over a long match, averages actually do tell a story, and they were right with each other in that first half of the game, but 5 points between them now. Searle 95, Clayton 100.75, and he does indeed love the bullseye.
He does, Theo. I mean, if you were to pick one man in world darts at the moment to hit the bullseye for you, I think Johnny Clayton would be right at the top of that list, wouldn't he?
Yeah, good question, actually. I mean, Lloyd, he loved the ball, didn't he? But that's a question that's asked sometimes. If you had something riding on it, your house, whatever it was, and you one double, one player, who would it be and what double?
James Wade.
Still?
I said it years and years ago. James Wade at one time was absolutely, I'm going to use a Michael Van Gerwen word here, he was phenomenal. Tops and tens, you give him a sniff. I always said, if aliens come from down and they were going to take me away, but someone could throw a dart for me or some darts for me at anything, Wadey. I've said it. I think near enough my whole career. At one point, I think you might agree with me, Murph. At one point, Taylor was clinical. He was clinical, but at one point, Wadey on tops and tens.
Oh, he was the best finisher in the world.
Absolutely ruthless. You just sort of stood there. And you thought,
do you think Clayton's in that conversation now for being the best finisher in the world? You look at his performance in this match alone. 66%, 14 out of 21, 6 ton-plus finishes in this game, and it doesn't even seem sort of incredible because that's what he does.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. You sometimes don't recognise someone for doing that because they just do it. They do it with such simplicity these days, and Johnny certainly does. And I agree with you. Yeah, he is one of those people. He can be absolutely clinical. But another one for me is Gezi Price. I know he's out of the event now, but Gezi Price, he has his moments with tops and tens. And the thing about what does me about that is they search for it.
Yeah.
You know, 61, they go treble 7. No one ever done that, Murph. Did it? Like 67, treble 9. You always went for the treble 17, but they search for that finish to leave tops or tens. And that's what makes them so good.
We're looking at the finishing stats here. Johnny Clayton, it's been incredible this evening, 66.7 so far. Ryan Searle on 42.3 has not been bad from him, has it? This has been a great display of finishing from both. Ryan Searle obviously just that little bit behind, and that can prove costly, can't it?
Yeah, and there was a time when you would say 40-odd% finishing would win you most matches, and now you sort of talk about 50%, don't you? That's how good the standards got. We talk about averages being maybe 105s being the new sort of 100. The 50% is a new 40% in the checkout percentage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Johnny Clayton edging towards the winning line here, 14-11 up. Looking to go 15-11 up, but he is against the throw here. Well ahead in this leg.
Searle's going to need a 180. Even after that, Searle needs a 180 to get down to a finish. Thought we might get one when the first dart went in.
Well, he's got 6 darts now at the 151. Just try and tidy it up to try and leave a maybe a 2 dart or even a single darter. A little 2 dart, 58 left now. That's how much pressure that 58 is going to be under.
We'll take a look at the draw bracket shortly. After this game, I think we'll take a look at the draw bracket. But as the tournament opened up so much early on, if you're still left in the tournament, do you think you are looking at your quarter, your way to the final and thinking, I've got a real chance here, or are you just looking at that next match?
Ryan Searle's got a real chance here. Clayton missing for once. Sorry, Lloyd, we'll come
carry
back
on,
to that.
carry on.
It's like he's missed now. I think he needed that, didn't he? But the first start was awful, wasn't it, for 120?
Where Ryan's concerned, he'd have liked to just sat above the treble 20, not just underneath. Johnny Clayton then for 15-11, double 10, good dart, good solid dart.
Very solid. Johnny Clayton moves one away here. 15-11 up. Ryan Searle, oh, that's unlucky, isn't it? I mean, it was in the treble 5, but still to see a dart drop out.
Yeah, go on anyway, you were saying.
Just about the tournament, the fact it opened up so much. So I was asking for Lloyd's perspective on the fact that, as a player, do you look at the draw bracket, your route to the potential final and winning the tournament, or do you really just look at the next game?
I used to look at the next game. You knew that someone had gone out. Obviously, you knew that Party had gone, and you know, in the times that like Phil had gone and whatever, and you thought to yourself, you did think to yourself that I know I'm playing well, maybe I've got an opportunity, but as soon as you thought it, get it out your head, because everybody else is thinking the same thing. So just keep yourself in a professional mode, keep yourself focused, and you know, just concentrate on the next person that's in front of you.
Well, here Clayton, one away, so with the darts. 181 left.
Oh, that looked a bit of a lazy dart. That I think maybe Ryan's thinking as the curtains gradually coming to a close.
Yeah, it's still okay-ish, isn't he? 92 off those, and Johnny Clayton hasn't been able to do any real damage. In fact, he hasn't left to finish, Johnny Clayton, because he's miscounted.
It's not like Johnny Clayton to do that, is it?
Yeah, he went for the 90. Doesn't matter anyway. Phil takes out the 92 on top. But yeah, went for the 19s to leave 162.
Yeah, well, the music just started briefly there. I think they thought that this is heading to another break, but we are playing through to the conclusion now, aren't we? And it could be over in this leg.
Yeah, he's got the throw now, Clayton. But the low darts, all three of them. So if he can kick off well, he can start to put some pressure on. Needs to find a treble.
Yeah, well, he found 2, but one was not one that he needed. Second dart drifting into treble 5.
Russ Bray is down there calling the numbers out,
Here
thinking
comes
about his
pressure.
appearance here.
Here comes that pressure. 180 from Johnny Clayton.
As usual, he knows where the camera is, doesn't he, Johnny?
Is there a player in World Darts that does the same thing over and over again but knows exactly where the camera is as well as Johnny Clayton? I don't think there is.
No.
The trademark point. We've got the Andrew Gilding. We've got the Gilding thumbs up.
Did you I think of the thumb.
Did you have a trademark celebration? I know we didn't see you celebrate enough to actually know it was your trademark, Lloydie, but
I did have a trademark celebration. It was usually picking up the jug of water and spinning with it and chucking it into the crowd.
It got banned, didn't it?
Yeah, it got banned. Yeah, I got a few fines for that, and yeah, the fines started getting a little bit heavier, and then one day Rory Hopkins, the producer, turned around and said, Lloydie, if any of that water goes on one of them cameras, there's about 25,000 quid's worth there. And I went, I'm going to stop doing that.
So looking at a 170 here, Lloydie to stay in it. Needs the bullseye. Oh! Just above.
Well, this is it then. Clayton for the match, 66.
Ball double 8.
Which, yeah, he will go that way, won't he? 19 hit.
7 tops.
Just taking a step back.
He's working it out.
Pressure moment, isn't it? Real pressure moment for Clayton.
Well, he better not miscount.
Good shot, 32. Good.
And there we have it. Johnny Clayton wins 16-12. He is the third name through to the semi-finals. The first time he's ever reached that stage of the tournament. He's one game away from the final of the World Matchplay.
Joe, what? Hats off to both of them. Fair play, Johnny Clayton, through to the semi-finals of the match play. But you know what? Let's not forget Ryan Searle. It takes two to put in a great match, and that was a great match. We said at the beginning, didn't we, that there might be a little bit of longevity into it. 16-12. Johnny, I think just experience counted there.
The finishing won it, didn't it, from Clayton? Just incredible 6-ton toppers. What was the percentage
he
in the
finished
end?
with 61.5.
16 darts out of 26.
I mean, that is very impressive stuff. That is match-winning, tournament-winning stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Finishing like that, it's going to scare anyone.
And I think now, I know it's easy to say it's in the last four, but I think now people are going to look at that performance, as professional as it was. He's looking like a winner, isn't he? And he's the one who's got the most experience of winning the big ones. Yeah, not this one, but nobody has. And he's won more than all of the other players potentially put together.
So if you see in the next game, if Luke Humphries, your pick for the title, makes it through against Damon Heta, do you think he's going to go into that semi-final with Johnny Clayton as favourite?
That is a very, very good question. I think it depends a lot on the performance from Luke tonight. If it's a similar match to the one against Van Duijvenbode, I think we'll see them flip-flop. Clayton becomes favourite for the match of the tournament. If Humphries goes and produces his best stuff and blows him away, then everyone goes, well, you know what, he's ready, and maybe he stays favourite. Good question.
Well, as we see Polly doing her stuff, she just joined us on the sofa. We're going to take a quick look at the draw bracket if we got that ready. The way that Clayton has gone through the tournament, let's just pull up his record here, 1 second. Bear with me. We know that he's had a bit of trouble coming into this tournament with family problems as well. Polly touched on that when she was with us. I believe his father's been very ill. It's obviously been a very difficult time for him coming into this tournament, but in a way, something like that can potentially galvanise you, can't it?
Yeah, I think a couple of things it can do. I've been around darts long enough to know players that have gone through that kind of thing, and sometimes it can be you can only be thinking about that, so you're not thinking about the pressure because you've got something more important in your life.
Yeah, well said.
But also it can inspire you. You can go, I'm going to do it for them, and that's the kind of thing as well. So as sad and horrible as it is, things happen like that. You do see it quite a lot. I think Joe Cullen won, didn't he, the Masters not long after sadly losing his mum, and it did galvanise him, as I say.
Well, let's take a quick look at that draw bracket. We'll bring it up on screen for you now. Obviously, it's not updated with that semi-final result. Johnny Clayton moving through. Aspinall Cullen on the other side. But if you look at the run of the two players that have made it through so far, on the right, Clayton, he beat Gabriel Clemens in the opening round. Clemens is a player that we saw at the World Championship semi-finals, had an incredible run there. For him, he's not really kicked on. But to then go and beat a former champion in Dimitri van den Berg, considering the way Johnny Clayton has been playing this year, it's not been his best stuff, but a run like that, beating two big names in Clemens and Dimitri, and all of a sudden now beating Ryan Searle and make it through the semi-finals. This could be a huge moment for him for the rest of the year as well.
Yeah, that result against Dimitri, looking at it again, 11-6. He didn't just beat him, he battered him. And Dimitri's record here, of the players in that second round, was unrivaled, wasn't it? I think he had a win, a runner-up and a semi-final before that. So, I mean, that result in itself.
I think his performance against Gabriel Clemens, that was a battle. That was an absolute battle, and I think there was a lot of people that thought, if you play like that, you're not getting past Dimmy. No chance. You were sort of expecting the 11-6 in Dimmy's favour, but he came back, he turned up, and it was Johnny Clayton. He turned up, put in a fantastic performance, and he put him to the sword, really.
With the position of this tournament in the calendar year, in the summer months, you know that the calendar ramps up towards the end of the year ahead of the World Championships. Just how important is a good run here to galvanise you in the latter half of the year onto those big tournaments, the Grand Prix, which Johnny Clayton has won, the Grand Slam, going into the World Championships, European Championships. There's a lot coming, isn't there?
It's huge. We've said it before. This is, for me, it is anyway. For me, this is the second biggest tournament. You know, you got the World Champ. I know the Premier League is huge. Premier League's not ranked. For me, this is a big one. But in saying that, there's lots of big stuff in between now and Christmas. If you win this, keep your foot on the gas. Keep pushing. Because whoever gets crowned this on Sunday, and fantastic, congratulations to them, Monday morning is still going to come round, and yes, you're still going to be the world match play champion. And then the next time you go to an event, whether it be a Pro Tour, a Euro Tour, whatever it will be, you've got the biggest bullseye on your back ever, because everybody's going to want a piece of you. And that's when the hard work starts.
And where it falls in the calendar, Lloyd, it is usually a bit of a gap after it as well. Yeah. So it's important to try. I mean, some players will go to Australia, play in the World Series events, etc., and that'll be a very nice thing to take with them. But for other players, if somebody else who's not involved in that, they've got this big gap and maybe have to be careful not to get a little bit complacent and relax.
Back in 05, again, I've got to sort of like say it around myself. That's how much the game has evolved and how much it's moved on. I won this in 05. I never threw another. Well, didn't throw another dart. I had exhibitions and things like that going on, but I never threw another competitive dart. I think it was until the second weekend of September. Wow! Because there was nothing else on. Whereas now it's completely changed. You have a full calendar. You have a full block, and you know, like you say, Lewis, it'll be great for whoever wins it. But keep pushing, keep working hard.
Well, let's look at our game coming up. Damien Heta taking on Luke Humphries. Oh, we've just got Russ Bray joining us very shortly. Give us 1 minute, Russ. We'll just ask this question, Lloyd, before you depart again, very briefly, if you don't mind.
Very good. No, bother.
Damien Heta versus Luke Humphries. First, we spoke about it at the top of the show, but again, how do you see this going? The pressure really is on Luke Humphries more than Damien Heta, isn't it?
It is a little bit. I think me and Murph did both agree that we think Luke Humphries has had that little wobble now. He's a class performer. I think with Luke, it was a case of we all had these expectations. We'd seen the brilliance of him in TV events. We've seen the brilliance of him on the Euro Tour. How I don't want to say he's dominated, but he's pushing himself in there every time he's in the Euro Tour. You don't want to play him. But also Damien Heta. Which Damien Heta turns up? Does the Damien Heta turn up who's flowing, who's looking good, scoring heavy, finishing well? Because if that Damien Heta doesn't turn up, I'm with Mert. I think Luke Humphries could blow him away because he's got that explosive sort of game.
Well, we'll make sure we bring Russ in now. Russ, if you're ready, come this way. Lord, if you can depart, please send your questions in for Russ Bray. He's about to join us on the sofa. Russ obviously has been around the game for a number of years. He is vastly experienced as a referee. He's been around the sport for a long, long time. I'm sure he'll be open to asking any questions that you've got. Please also send us in your top 5 list that we will talk to Colin Lloyd about his top 5 players of all time. We want to know your top 5. Please send in your interactions. We're going to pick a winner at the end of the night to win a signed match play programme. Russ Bray is about to stick on his headset. Russ, get those on. Can you hear us loud and clear?
I can, absolutely beautiful.
Russ, if you didn't know, this is the live watch-along on the official PDC channel.
You're panicking there.
Welcome along.
Thanks.
We've got fans watching with us at home, though
it.
some of them may not be watching the darts, so we're going to be talking through the next game, also asking their questions to you and finding out about your life in darts. Russ, you've been in darts for a number of years. You are known as the voice, the iconic voice of darts. Blackpool must hold a special place for you as well. This tournament must be really special for you.
Definitely. This is where I started. This is where I done my very first game back in 1996 on the Sunday night. There was 2 games. Oh, there was actually 3 games on the Sunday night. They weren't shown live in them days. They were recorded, and then they showed the highlights of it the next day. And the first game I called had John Lowe in it. The second game I called had Paul Lim, which were the only 2 guys at that given time that hit 9 darters. So, you know, for me to actually come there, it was, the nerves was incredible. But 96 that was, so 27 years now, so it was a long time.
As you mentioned, you've been around the sport for a long time. Not to rub it in, Russ. We know we are still looking brilliant, mate. You're still looking brilliant.
Love it.
But you have seen this sport change like nobody else, I imagine. You've been around it and you've seen the change in standard, the change in the crowds, the change in the style of the players. You know, it's gone from strength to strength, hasn't it?
It's just gone through the roof, and it's still riding such a high aggressive wave. Very first time I got involved with darts was in 1975, so a long time ago in that respect, and that was playing.
You were a mean player, if I'm not mistaken. You were bad.
I'm a canny A player, so and I won a few odd little bits and pieces, but yeah. And to see the way it's changed when you come to venues, I mean, this is magnificent. This to me is my favourite tournament anyway. But when you come to venues like this, you've got proper dart fans in here. They all know what's going on. And that is where it's changed dramatically. Early doors, you had Dark Ali Pali, going back Ali Pali News of the World. You know, sort of 15,000 people there and things like that. But then you had like the smoking and the drinking and all that sort of thing, which was totally gone out of the game now, you know, for the public to see. So it's a great thing to be involved with, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
Another thing that's changed, Rush, and the game you've just called actually is an example of this, is the pace of it. How have you had to adapt your call, your style, to keep up with the speed of the game now?
Well, very much so, because in the day there, Chris, you used to have your quick dart player, Richie Gardner, for example. He was very, very quick. But the standard now, because they're hitting all the different scores and the different ways that they go, you know, it's just immense.
Yeah.
It is immense. Immense. I love it.
Well, Russ, we're having a number of questions coming in on the YouTube chat. Steve, well, we've got one on the screen here actually. Russ, what is the angriest the player has been at you? That's Darren Murphy asking.
No relation, by the way. I'm not putting him up to it. Yeah.
You must have had a few interactions and a few times where a player has not been too happy.
I mean, that's always going to happen. Angriest player? I don't know. It's a very difficult one for me to answer, to be fair, because I still work with a lot of guys, and everyone knows who the angry people are.
But not just generally, like, we're not necessarily talking about a disagreement with you or anything, but you're in that unique position on stage, aren't you, where you are as close as anyone to the raw emotion of a dart player, aren't you? And you can see sometimes when he's not going to play his way.
We had one on the show last night, and I remember actually Russ had to help him out by holding him back, and that was Paul Nicholson.
That was the UK Open at Bolton. You know, sort of Paul really lost the plot at that given time, and I walked up and grabbed hold of him, you know, come on, get yourself off and calm yourself down, and you know, I think that's part and parcel of being a ref. Yeah, you've got to count, you've got to, you know, I mean, I don't always get that right, but you know, you've got to count and all the such like. But being a ref on the stage, you know, you need to deal with a player's emotions, and you know, don't forget, sometimes people get embarrassed. Premier League a few years back, last year at Aberdeen with Michael. Michael got upset. He was playing Johnny Clayton, of all people, and he should have won. In all honesty, he should have won the game. He didn't win the game, and you know, he sort of vented it on me a little bit on social media and on the TV. He come up in my face. But you got to realise, one, he's embarrassed. Two, he should have won. You know, so all it is you just keep a calm thing on it. We walked up the stage. I walked down there. He's got his arm around me. We're chatting and everything. There's never anything cynical or nasty.
Question from Bob on YouTube, Russ. He says, "What is your favourite ever moment here at the Winter Gardens?"
Got to be Phil Taylor's 9 dart. It was the very first one on the stage down there, 2002.
Yeah,
I think it was 2002. No one in the PDC, no one in the PDC had hit a 9 darter, and it was the actually second one live, because Sean Greatbatch done it a week before live on Dutch TV. So, but it was the first one on Sky, and it was the first one within the PDC. So, of course, Phil won £100,000 for that. So it didn't even buy a treat. £100,000 for that, and you know, so that's got to be.
Well, he got 501 bottles of Budweiser for another one.
So, you could
have had one of those, Russ.
I didn't even see one at all.
But Russ, for those watching at home that see you on the TV tournaments, know you're an iconic voice of darts, but they don't see your appetite for this sport, for travelling around the world, is second to none, isn't it? You go all over the place with this sport.
Literally, I do the Asian tour, so you know, obviously I'm in China, Japan, Korea, Mongolia, Hong Kong, Singapore. I'm off to Thailand on Thursday next week to do the Asian tour out there. Then we go on to Australia and New Zealand. So I'm as enthusiastic now as I was when I very first started.
So with all that travel, what's the strangest place that you've perhaps been recognised? Probably by your voice more than your face.
Strange. That's a really, really good question. Probably in the Philippines, believe it or not. We was in a shopping mall, and me and John McDonald, and we're walking through a shopping mall. Also, this guy, a Filipino guy, was right out of nowhere. Oh, boys, picture. Hello, mate. Yeah, okay. You know, and a bit, which is just so unexpected. You know, it's this is how far darts has gone, though. You know, we're 4 corners of the globe, and it's fantastic.
And for you, you've had this long career in darts. It must be great to travel around and see the sport grown the way it has. Yeah, and the
Massively.
And how important do you think it is that the PDC take these events to these places?
Very.
And things like the Asian Tour growing and growing because of that, aren't they?
Well, the thing with the Asian Tour that I honestly believe, if you, oh, Damon out of it.
Well, yeah, David
I just spoke to him actually. I said, I bet you're praying for weather at the minute, aren't you?
Well, Russ, while these guys walk on, I believe we have got a pre-match interview with Damon Heta. We can play that now. Get a few more questions in for Russ in the meantime. We'll hear from Damon Heta ahead of his quarter-final. Should be able to play that for you now.
You've seen some players not quite enjoy when the crowd go against them, but in your case, you quite enjoy being the villain, don't you? Lapping it up out there.
Yeah, just a bit of banter. It's just me as a person in general. Yeah, messages here backwards and forwards against other players and other people that are in the dart scene, and yeah, I'm just bringing that out into the stage, and I'm getting the same feeling out there. So yeah, just in the comfort zone, you could say.
Okay. Well, it's all to play for in the Ashes. So what show are you going to put on out there tonight?
Oh, we just got a little something, nothing too crazy. But I think if I get through this one, then maybe, yeah, I've got some stuff lined up.
Oh, it's a secret, is it?
Yeah, for now, for now.
Well, you're the only non-Brit left in the competition, so do you feel like you've almost got the rest of the world's weight on your shoulders?
Nah, look, for me, just to be in the position I am at the moment, that's a massive achievement for myself so far. Obviously, I want to go on a bit further, that's for sure. But no, I'm pretty content that things are happening for me, and I'm just going to ride the wave.
I feel like you're quite a confident guy. You're more looking forward to going out there tonight than feeling the kind of the pressure and the nerves, don't you? Yeah,
100%. And that's the deal with the walk-on. It makes me feel like the weight is off my shoulders. I'm having a good time already before I even thrown a dart. So I think that's just something that's helped me and my game. And like you said, a lot of players probably couldn't do that. And I'm just finding my game, and yeah, and hopefully it all pans out for me for years to come.
Okay, and you're head-to-head with Luke Humphries. It hasn't kind of gone more your way in the past, but do you feel like now more than ever this is at your time? Yeah,
I think so. I've got to get my revenge here.
Yeah.
He definitely is a solid player, but and I've come close a few times, and all I've got to do is take my chances when I create them.
Well, there we have the pre-match thoughts of Damon Heta. You've just seen his walk-on if you are watching this on TV. He's come out cricket-themed once again with the gloves on, with dummies that he's handing out. He knows how to rile up this Blackpool crowd. But facing him now is Luke Humphries. He's making his way to the stage. John McDonald's just called him on. We spoke to him earlier. In fact, he spoke to Gabby Parsons.
At the start of the tournament, you were 12 to 1 to win. Now you're down as favourite. So do you feel like you're almost proving the doubters wrong?
Not particularly. I said, you know, I don't think there's any favourites anymore. I think we're all down into this part of the competition where we all believe we can win. You know, it's all 50-50 games from now on. Anybody's beatable. You know, and like you know, the top four's out. You definitely, you know, the chances of you winning are much more higher. That's just the way it is. But if the top four was still, and I still believed I could have won, nothing's changed. You know, I walked into this tournament thinking I could win it, and I still do now.
You said nothing's changed, but has your mindset changed at the start of the tournament to this position of it now?
The only thing that would change in my mindset was I'm closer to the title. You know, I believe I can win. You know, when you win the first couple of rounds, you know, your belief becomes higher because you're closer to picking up the trophy. But like I said, I don't believe it. I'm thinking about winning it more now that the top four ain't in it, because then that would mean you're scared of them, and you know, none of us are. You know, like Damon said the other day, everyone's beatable now. There's no favourites anymore, I don't think.
Okay, well, Damon's the only non-Brit left in the competition. Obviously, he's Australian. You're English. He's been lapping up the crowd, hasn't he? Getting everyone, well, going against him. But are you going to kind of live up to that, or in reverse? Not
particularly. I like to just focus on what I'm doing on the stage. You know, let my darts do the talking. It works for Damo, and it probably releases a bit of tension for him. I would say it's probably not a great idea for me if I wanted to try and put the crowd against me, because
not against you,
with
you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I wouldn't want myself to put the crowd against me, but Damo likes doing that. So, you know, I hope that they make it a fair game and don't burn him on too many important doubles and stuff, because you know I want to win in a fair way. But you know, if he's going to ask for the crowd to be against him, then you know you may have to face what comes.
Okay, well, you've got a good record against him. Does that give you more confidence coming into this one?
Yeah, I've a great record against Dirk in the last 16, and you know I knew that before I played him. And I think it does play on your mind for your opponent if you know that the person you're playing's got a good record against you. I played Damo 3 times this year, beat him 3 times. But this is a different circumstance. You know, we're in another major. I beat him in the UK Open. So yeah, it might play on his mind a bit more than it would mine. You know, I've beaten 3 times this year. Doesn't mean he can't beat me. So.
Well, there we have the thoughts of Luke Humphries ahead of his game. This is a huge opportunity for both players. Johnny Clayton now awaits in the semi-finals. Russ, you were saying just as the players walk to the stage, you feel that Luke Humphries needs to relax a little bit more.
Yeah, he's. I think he beats himself up a bit too much. You know, it's. I can understand a player expecting to do great all the time, but you're not going to. Yeah, you're never going to do. You're never going to be great all the time. It's just a matter of just relax a little bit. You know, he's a great dart player, as he's proved. You know, he's got nothing to prove. Just get up there. Don't go. That's on the day, isn't it?
You and the other referees have got a unique insight on that as well, haven't you? Because we watch them when they're retrieving the darts, maybe shaking their head, muttering a few words, but you will hear everything they say.
And that applies to everybody. Taylor was great for it. He throws 3 darts. Look at me, sorry, Russell, you know, because he's, whatever is it, you know, it wasn't what he
140.
wanted. Yeah, and they weren't straight, you know what I mean?
Well, Russ, what do you make of this game coming up? We want an impartial view. We're not going to ask for your prediction, but these two are superb dart players, aren't they? It's going to be a barnstormer, I imagine.
Absolutely. All you ever hope for from my perspective as a ref, you just hope it's going to be a great game of darts, you know, because in all honesty, I really don't care who wins. It sounds really dismissive, I'm not. But I really don't mind who wins. It doesn't affect me, you know, in what I do. All you hope is got a great game for the fans. And now, when you've got Damon on form, when you've got Luke on form like they are, hopefully it'll be as good as the game that we've just had, you know, because that was an absolute belter.
Luke Humphries there taking the opening leg, 76 checkout.
Break of throw as well.
Break of throw in the opener. Russ,
straight away.
Quick question about Damon's walk-on.
Yeah.
I mean, he's changed it up in recent weeks, hasn't he? On the European Tour, he's been doing all manner of silly things. This week as well, with the Ashes themed all the way so far. He certainly knows how to rile up the crowd, but he seems very relaxed while he's doing it. He knows what's going to come, doesn't he, from this Blackpool crowd?
Everybody knows it's tongue-in-cheek with the kid, you know what I mean? Literally, and that's exactly what it is. It's the old Peter Manley syndrome, isn't it? You know, he's a pantomime villain.
Yeah.
You know, and he's the one that's, I love it.
And he said as well himself, he said he actually had watched his previous matches and felt that he'd started the games too much nerves, too much tension, so he's trying to do something to release that.
What better way of doing it?
Yeah.
To get up there, we're all relaxed, you know, that's exactly how he wants it. But he's come on leaps and bounds, Damon Heta, big time. Since coming over from Oz, he come over with his missus, and, you know, they've made it a career over here.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, if you're going to make it a career, that's what you need to do, obviously. And that's exactly what he's done, and proved that he's good enough.
And you mentioned about your trips abroad with the PDC, the World Series. Of course, he was one of the players who emerged from the World Series, won one, didn't he?
Yeah.
As a qualifier, Australian qualifier.
Well, I can go back. I've been going out to Australia for the last 14 years, and seeing Damon, he's still a young kid. He was about 18. He's about 32, 33 now. Seeing him as a young lad play youth, and then see him come through the seniors. He's a cracking little player. He really is. Nice kid as well.
Here we go. Luke Humphries looking at 1-2-6. Just goes inside on double 6.
So Damon will break him straight back now with the tops.
I think we've got Johnny Lou.
Johnny Clayton is here to join us.
Fantastic.
Johnny, just 1 second, Russ. We are going to have to love you and leave you there, I'm afraid.
Worries.
Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We hope you'll come back tomorrow evening if you're about. Perfect. So please send in more questions for us on Twitter. But right now, we're going to bring in Johnny Clayton. I believe we should have his winning darts. If we could play those while Johnny joins us on the sofa. But Russ, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, great to hear from Russ.
Cheers, Russ.
Johnny's coming in, top man.
Luke, this game is just kicked into gear. Damon Heta is now levelled at 1-1.
Yeah, break back as well, so good stuff.
Crucial. Johnny, come
really
and join us.
stuff.
If you please put on that headset. Please send in your questions for Johnny Clayton. He's joined us on the sofa, a unique position, getting him straight after his game, live here on our YouTube page for the Dart Show Watch Along. Johnny Clayton, welcome. Semi-finalist at the Matchplay. How good does that feel?
Oh, it feels amazing. Who would think that? I'm usually a first round, you know, get out here, Johnny boy, not good enough, but this year, this means a lot.
Johnny, it was an incredible game between you and Ryan there. Your finishing in particular, 6-ton plus finishes, over 60% on the doubles. It's that sort of stuff that can win you titles, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, with that kind of figures on your out shots, it'll win any game. So it helped me tonight, but I need to carry that on for the next game. So hopefully, cross fingers, we can do that.
Well, we are watching Damien Heta here take on Luke Humphries. They will be your opponent in the semi-finals. Do you have a preference between these two who you face?
Nah, definitely not. You know, they're two brilliant players. They're both on form to start off, so it's going to be difficult whichever one I take on. So, you know, to be fair to them, see you in the semis.
Johnny, I know your personality. You're quite a humble guy, modest. You don't brag about your own ability and stuff. But Luke's been made favourite for the tournament before the quarter-finals. But you're the guy that's won the most. You've been there and done it, won the big TV events before. Is it a surprise that you don't find yourself in that position?
It sounds good, that does, man. Yeah, it does. But no, obviously, hey, listen, stats are stats. So, you know, I'm here and I'm trying to win this tournament. And it's the same as Damien, Luke, Joe and Nathan. So we're all here for one thing, that trophy.
Do you feel that experience might help, though?
Hopefully,
yep.
100% hopefully. If it goes my way, it goes my way. I've had a few, you know, majors in my belt, under my belt, so hopefully that'll take me on.
Well, Johnny, he won't pick himself up, will he?
No, he's too humble for that. The tweet question we had, it's just disappeared off the screen. Here it is from Alex Munro. He asks, how do you deal with those pressure shots so well? I mean, you are fast becoming and getting a reputation as someone that can take out huge checkouts under huge pressure.
Yeah, maybe, but you know, my 3 darts on 32 don't work as well. So, you know, I feel good. It's the same as anybody else. The first thing that comes in my mind would just say a 161. I'll go for it. People say, why don't you set it up or whatever? It's in my mind. I want to go for it, so I'll go for that bull. Whether it's right or wrong, my thing in darts is from 501 to 0 as quick as you can. If there's a bull left and he's on, I don't know, 200 whatever, I'll go for it because I think my bull finishing is better than my double 16s. So, yeah.
Well, we were talking to Colin Lloyd before you came and joined us about the importance of the World Match Play in the calendar, the fact it's in the summer ahead of a huge period in darts where you've got a load of major trophies. But for you, it seems to be the World Cup is the galvaniser for your career. You've won it again this year with Gezi Price, and now you're performing very well here in Blackpool.
Yeah, I think the World Cup is a good thing for me. I think hopefully this year I can win for majors. You know, the ranking majors, not the unranked. So
maybe this will be the year, Johnny, where you complete the set, you win all the other ones that you didn't win a couple of years ago.
Oh, Chris, that'd be absolutely phenomenal. You know, but it is what it is. I'll go up there, I'll try my best, win or lose. If I lose, I'll try again next time. If I win, obviously there's a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Johnny, talking about them checkouts, we've got a question here from Brian Crowley. Have you got a favourite of those big checkouts? What is your favourite one to hit?
Obviously, my 1-2 ones. Oh, I love them.
One of them tonight?
Yeah, just one tonight. You know, I'll keep them till tomorrow night.
Well, Johnny, we're just watching Luke Humphries here, firing another 180.
It's 2-2. How do you play these matches like mini sets, or do you just sort of focus on the match as a whole? It's leg play, isn't it, the match play? But we saw last night, for example, Joe went in, didn't he, 5-0 up at the first break.
Yeah.
He won by 5 legs in the end. Do you think it's important to win each mini session?
Yeah, I think, obviously, if you got the darts, it's a massive... I used to think, if you lose the ball, it doesn't matter. But it does matter. It's a massive thing. Because, obviously, Joe went in last night, like you said, at 5-0. That's a bit of a comfort zone. Darryl came back massively.
Yeah.
But like tonight when I was against Ryan, you know, I kept with him. So I think it was 3-2. I think we were 5-all at one time. You know, if you can keep with a guy who's just won the ball, it's a massive advantage for the guy chasing.
Yeah.
But obviously, like Joe last night, you know, he's 5-0 up and it's fantastic. You know, it's his thing on the ball.
He's a bit of a mate of yours as well, isn't he, Joe, Colin? So potential to meet in the final.
Yeah, I'd love to meet Joe. We have 2 JCs in the final. It'll be brilliant. You know, yeah, big mates with Joe. Great friend. He's one of my best friends on tour. You know, he's a pain in the butt, but to be honest, no, I love him a bit.
Johnny, you are the most experienced name left in the field in terms of winning major events. Where would winning the World Match Play sit amongst all of those titles you have?
Yeah, it'd be probably at the top because every tournament, it's a different year, I think. But this one, it's for my dad. My dad's not very well, so you know, this would mean something different.
Is that, in a way, I know it's very difficult for you, very raw and emotional, but in a way, is it helping galvanise you a little bit here to play your best stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, it makes me concentrate a bit more. You know, I'm thinking of him, obviously, generally, but you know, Ella, my wife, she's back home with Dad, looking after Dad, and you know, my kids fear and theory here with me, but you know, it just means a little bit more. Like, you know, I'd love to do it just for him.
Well, currently we're seeing Luke Humphries has gone in 3-2 at the break. We were talking just earlier about winning this first session. That is the first psychological blow, isn't it? And how is it backstage? You've just come off leading or losing. What is it like with your
happens,
opponent
Johnny? Like,
backstage?
how close are you to your opponent and all that kind of thing?
Well, as close as me and you, Chris, to be honest. But, you know, listen, we're all mates on tour. It's just up on that stage, we're enemies. You know, we go backstage, you do your own thing, and then you're ready for your next session on the stage. So basically, you know, Luke was going up 3-2 here. Damon's obviously getting ready for the next one. People are different. Some will stay on stage, some won't, some will go backstage. But, you know, we're all different. We're all different. And backstage is just try and relax, ready for the next session.
Well, when you are leading in a match and you see your opponent stay on the stage, do you think that is a psychological victory? Do you think, well, I've got him here?
Yes, in one way, but maybe no in the other, because you think, should I be next to him throwing as well? So, yeah, maybe, because if I win that session, I can go off and relax a bit. But then I look back and think, oh my God, he's staying on stage, so why aren't I there?
Yeah.
In your game tonight, though, Johnny, you and Ryan, I mean, I loved the sort of the manner it was played in. You both came off the stage after the first couple of sessions, just looking like you were really enjoying the match, and both of you going, this is a really good game.
Oh, 100%, because it felt like a good game. It really did feel. And, you know, like, you know, Ryan took a good out, I took a good out, and I respect that. As a dart player, I always say, if I'm good enough, it's going to be my day. If I'm not good enough, I'm going to try again. But we were both the same, I think. We both respected our outshots. I think we both respected our game. So, yeah, it was brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah, nice for us to watch as well as fans, because, I say it before, you get a lot of players that play like they've got the weight of the world on their shoulders, a little bit miserable. But you guys are playing with a smile on your face, and you know, darts fans like us would love to be in your position, so it's nice to actually see people enjoying it.
Yeah, 100%. You know, like, hey, listen, I always say, you go back, I think I've been on this tour for 8 years, I think. You know, I was sat in my living room watching the World Championships of Michael Van Gerwen, Phil Taylor's, Joe Collins. Listen, I'm a part of it. I'd never, ever dreamt that I would be a part of this. And to be one of the elite players, oh my God, you know, it's a dream come true. So, you know, I stand up there and I try my best. I just think to myself, everybody else has done it. You try to do it, John Boy, and that's it.
Johnny, you're so highly regarded by your fellow peers on the tour. Nobody's got really a bad word to say about you, I'm certain. But how difficult is it to play against a close friend? We saw last night Nathan Aspinall playing Chris Dobie. They're sharing accommodation this week, which to then meet in a quarter-final, how do you prepare for a game like that?
To be honest, I can't answer that, because they are best of friends. And like, it's the same as me and Joe Collins. So it's like, I don't know. It's a feeling that until you get up on stage, and that game was brilliant.
Yes.
It was a fantastic game. So I don't know. That feeling was like, to be fair to them, you just want to hit the trebles and you want to hit the doubles. And in all respects, maybe when Nathan won, Chris didn't really mind because he's his best mate, but he'd feel disappointed at the same time. And I think if it had been the boot on the other foot, it'd be the same. But, you know, it's difficult. It's very difficult.
Question here from Matthew Tyrrell, and I'm going to expand on it slightly. He asked about Searle nearly hitting that 170 just before he won the match, but what is it like being so close to somebody and watching them when you're on a checkout to win the game, pop in 2 trebles and you think, oh, here we go. What is it like for you there?
There's a few things, a few thoughts going through your mind, and one of them is like, please miss. And you know, it is. That's true. You know, it's you know, you're sat on a finish, and like you say, that pulls in. It's a mass. It's a game changer, to be honest. And you know, obviously Ryan missed, but you know, you just stand there and you think, please miss, please miss, please miss. You know.
Well, Johnny, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to let you go because we know you've got some celebrating to do. You've got family here, and I'm sure you've still got more media to go and speak to. But thank you very much for joining us.
No problem.
Everybody at home, please make sure you send in those comments. Johnny Mack is going to be joining us soon. MC extraordinaire. Johnny, if you could exit stage right. Chris, you talk us through what's happening here. Johnny Mack is about to join us on the sofa.
Great to have Johnny Clayton with us.
Thank you very much for
3-3
joining
in
us.
this one.
From one Johnny to another. Chris, this game finally poised.
Yeah,
at
both
3-3.
players averaging 100 after 6 legs as well, so really, really good stuff so far. Mr. McDonald's going to join us now, having, well, we thought he'd finished his work for the night, but he's come to do another shift with us, so must have loved it so much last night.
John, we can't get rid of you.
I know.
Welcome back to the Watch Along Sofa. Thanks for joining us again. You enjoyed
Pleasure.
it so much last night. You've come back again. Again, another incredible atmosphere here in Blackpool.
Amazing.
Huge walk-ons again this evening. The second game, Damon Heta. That cricket walk-on gets better and better every time, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Yeah. I mean, you know, he's I wonder what he's going to do. To be honest,
where's the dummy, by the way? Gave you a dummy, didn't he?
I gave it away straight away. Yeah, I've no idea what it was.
Finally, Chris.
You know what's wrong with that? It's a bit of fun, isn't it? Everybody's got into the swing of it. Everybody's enjoying it, aren't they? And what an atmosphere down there tonight. I mean, I know it's been sold out from day one, but it just gets better and better. And I always sound like I'm selling it, and I don't mean to sell it. It sells itself. But what an atmosphere tonight!
Yeah, it's incredible. And Chris, the tension, you can sort of feel it in the atmosphere at the moment, aren't you? The crowd are sort of pulling for Luke Humphries, but we know that can switch quickly.
I think they're enjoying Dermot Heta. It's all pantomime, isn't it, with Dermot Heta? It's not a serious sort of bad boy rivalry thing. He's played it quite well, and yeah, at the beginning of the match, he's been booed a little bit. As it's gone on, the crowd, particularly here, I think if he did that at the World Championship, or maybe if he was in the Premier League, it'd be a different experience. But particularly here, the crowd, they want to see the best darts, and they know not to try and affect the game so much. But yeah, 4-3 to Humphries now, but both players are playing at an incredible standard around the 100 average. Humphries just edging ahead. He is a break-up as well, so Heta is going to have to just start to try and find that kind of form he has in the last couple of rounds.
John, I had a question for Russ, but you're in the same position as he is when players enter the stage. What is it that you say to them as they come on? Is it just a good luck message? Or
It depends, really. You know, it could be a number of different things. They always ask me about with Gerwyn Price, and I always say to Gerwyn the same thing every time. It's all right, mate, they're booing me, not you. You know, just anything to relax them a little bit. Good luck, well done, you know, nice to see you again. Anything that I think might just help them a little bit. Sometimes nothing, you know, it depends. Just a quick good luck or
just a quick word to sort of help them relax, you know.
Yeah.
These are regular blokes, aren't they, that have been thrown into an arena that's a bit of a bear pit at times. I'm sure the tension must be pretty high for them entering the stage. There must be some nerves.
You know, I've said this before, and I'll keep on saying it. There is no preparation for this standard of play. I mean, you know, you can be and are playing in your Super League, in your local pub, local club, and suddenly you qualify for the UK Open, you go to Butlins, and you're on stage one. Now, what preparation can you get for that? So I stick up for dart players. You know, if you're a good footballer, you may well have played in front of a large crowd before. You know, what can prepare you for this? So I've got a lot of time for our dart players in playing in big arenas, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and they do have to adjust quite quickly. And it's not everyone's cup of tea, unfortunately.
Well, Johnny was just saying that then, wasn't he, Lewis? That he was a plasterer just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Johnny Clayton, and now he's one of the best darts players in the world and playing on the big stages, winning the big tournaments. So it just goes to show that this is a sport, isn't it, where you can go from ordinary to extraordinary overnight.
No question. And the interesting thing about it is you do get that confidence with these wins. You do become a different person, a different player. You know, and let's not pretend for 1 minute that these people don't do the hard work. They do. Yeah. We know that. We know how much they practice. And for those watching that are keen amateur dart players, you know, because you're playing darts, how hard it is to be that good.
Heta's got the break back here, by the way, 4 apiece now.
Right. Yeah, it's a 103 checkout, I believe, from Damon Heta. again, those big checkouts can hurt your opponent, can't they?
Yeah, and Johnny Clayton showed that 6 of them in that match.
Yeah, he was imperious on the doubles. John, we're going to keep the questions coming in. We've got one here from Brian Crowley. He says, do you remember the first ever player that you walked on?
It's an interesting one, that. I think it could have been either Eric Bristow or Wayne Mardle, or one of those on the undercard of my very first darts match, which was Phil Taylor and Andy Fordham. And I did an undercard to that, if you like, in the showdown, yeah. So it would have been one of those pre-matches. It could have been I think John Lowe played that night and Eric played that night, and I was really thrown in the deep end there. I didn't know too much about darts. And then suddenly, you know, I'm in the big head-to-head with the BDO champion playing the PDC champion and an array of undercards. So it would have been one of those before the Taylor-Fordham head-to-head, yeah.
There's some story about that as well, isn't there, involving you, because that match actually didn't get completed, did it?
No, it didn't. Andy was taken very ill and was at the back of the arena when I sort of realised nothing was going on the screen, and I got quite concerned because it had been a number of minutes and still no play, and I went to the back of the hall and Andy was very unwell, and we managed to get him some medical assistance, and unfortunately he was unable to continue that evening, and Phil was crowned the champion. But it did make a friendship with me and Andy, and in fact he put in his book that I came to his help medically, and I knew what to do because my wife was a nurse. Well, I don't quite know how my wife ended up with all the credit. It was me that did the first assessment and realised that he was very, very unwell.
Oh, well, there we go. Luke Humphries, top socks. Chris, talk us through that one.
Yeah, brilliant finish, taking out the ton. Both players were on that checkout. Heta didn't get a go at the double, and then Humphries for us two in the same target. We see that so often as well these days when players are on those kind of finishes. They'll go double, and I guess that's something that's changed in the long time you've been involved in this game as well. That kind of finish used to be seen as disrespectful. Now it's just par for the course,
yeah, absolutely. Isn't it? You know what's incredible about it? So early in the match as well, you wouldn't think it was that important. You know, would you take a risk, a shot like that so early in the game? But nowadays, the bravery. You're looking at two guys here. When you look at their throw, if you ever had to take this event to somewhere that had never seen darts, these are the players you would take. Their throws are so beautiful. Yeah. Everything about them is so wonderful to watch.
Yeah, that was a break as well for Luke, so he should be going in 6-4 after the second session.
John, I've got a couple of questions. The part of your job that people don't see necessarily if they're not here in the arena is the pre-match warm-up, and also occasionally you have to get onto the mic during breaks. And there was a time in Germany where you needed the assistance of a local, didn't you, to speak to the crowd? Yeah. Just talk us about that one.
You see, that's interesting because wherever we go in Europe, we always presume that everybody speaks English. You know, everything's done in English, all the numbers are called in English, you know. And so we was in Germany, and we always have between the second semi-final and the final about a 15 or 20-minute break. And the second semi-final had taken place, and we was in Frankfurt, and I said, there will be a 20-minute break now, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to refresh yourselves, make sure you're back in your seats for our grand final, which will start in 20 minutes' time. And I walked off the stage and I thought it would be quite nice, and I think it's respectful if we did this in German.
Yeah.
But I didn't have very long, so I asked the security guard that was next to me, a German lad, could you please tell the audience there's a 20-minute break? And he then said, well, should I go and get Torsten to do it, who really did all our translation to the crowd, pre-show, what was going to happen, who was playing, and as such. And I said, look, there's no time for that. He spoke very good English. I said, there's no time for that. Please tell them now. And he got on the microphone and he said, there will be a 20-minute break. I said, no, in German. I've just done it in English. And it was one of them moments that, you know, it's the Del Boy moment in the pub when Grandad asked the girl, what is your name? Yeah. You know, I mean, I was so embarrassed, but the lad got the funny side of it and cracked a smile. And then we eventually got the 20-minute break in German posted, but it was one of those very, very funny moments.
And there's been times as well, occasionally, when you've been doing the walk-ons where things haven't quite gone according to plan, I don't want to embarrass the poor guy, but you were on stage the time that Kiang Sun entered the arena at the World Championships. I believe he was playing Corey Cadby.
Yeah, fell flat on his face.
Yeah, yeah. Just tell us what happened there.
Well, you know, again, all our guests when they come to the World Championship, and in fact every event, have the opportunity to come on the stage and throw darts. So they're fully aware that the oche is actually raised, and our oche is raised and has lights around it. So I don't know what more of an indication he wanted, that this was slightly higher than the floor, and the fact that it was a totally different colour as well. And he came walking towards me and just tripped and had his arms behind his back and face hit the stage. I was more concerned of his health than anything else, and picked him up, and I think he was sort of trying to say to me in Chinese, what happened there, you know?
Yeah, he sort of told the oche off.
Yeah, he sort of turned, yeah.
And Corey Cadby was totally oblivious of what had gone on behind him.
I mean,
he was walking towards the stage.
Yeah. Should just say, by the way, Hector got the break back. So it's not 6-4, as we just saw, it's 5 apiece.
5 apiece.
And back on throw as well. So
I can see this staying like this throughout. I mean, the levels, there is literally nothing to choose between these players. And it's quite interesting that our whole quarter-final lineup involves a brand new name on this trophy.
Yes.
I think that's great for the sport, because this is a major tournament to win, you know. I think what this does is it seals you as a great player. There are only great players who won this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that whoever wins this on Sunday evening is going to seal his place as a great player.
And special to lift the Phil Taylor Trophy as well.
Correct, absolutely. And Phil won it 16 times in this venue, you know. It really became his venue, and I think it was quite nice that we named it the Phil Taylor Trophy.
Yeah. Do you know how many of his finals you announced?
I'm not entirely sure. I did the first World Match Play for me was 2005.
Right.
I don't know whether I did 6, but I certainly done 7 onwards. So, you know, I've been here for some time, and I'm sure people at home that are big Phil Taylor fans will know exactly how many I've done of him.
Yeah, we'll probably get told very quickly.
Yeah, and also, of course, of the World Championships as well, because I've done every World Championship at Alexandra Palace and never did one at the Circus Tavern. So that's quite an easy one to work out.
So Lloydie won your first one, right?
He did, yes, and it was interesting with Lloydie because he befriended me on my first day here, was really kind to me, and we've become real close friends since, and he was on great form at the time. I think he was world #1, and he'd won the World Grand Prix or something, and he was really buzzing. And I was watching him practice, and I'd never seen anybody consistently hit so many 180s. He came out for his first match, hit a 180 first 3 darts, and of course when he played John Part in the final, he hit the 170 finish. So he started with a maximum, finished with a maximum. I don't know how many players have done that in a tournament, but there's not many.
Yeah, remarkable.
That's a very small club, isn't it?
Yeah, Aspinall hit a 170 finish to win the UK Open. I don't think he started the match with a 180.
No, you need to start with a maximum, finish with a maximum. I think Colin's in a very, very small club, a very unique membership club, probably no more than 3 or 4 players in it.
I'm just tallying up. I think he's probably 9 or 10 of Taylor's wins.
Wow.
Tom would have done,
Decent percentage, that's a huge chunk. And you are in that position as well, where not only you're announcing the winner of the World Match Play, you've also got to deal with the losing finalist and sort of console them, which, you know, it's difficult. Some players are very proud of the fact they've got there, but some, it's devastation, isn't it?
It is, and I had an interesting conversation with Michael Smith, many times a runner-up, and was really getting to the point of despair. And I said, Michael, these moments, this terrible feeling you've got right now, one day you'll get the other feeling, which is the feeling of winning. And when you get that, it will make you a better player. And I remember when I crowned him the world champion, he looked at me, and I know then he knew what I was saying was true. You know, that is a great feeling. I remember there was a great quote from Muhammad Ali who said he never learnt a thing by winning. He only ever learned by losing. Because when you walk away a winner, you don't really look back at the game, you don't look at how you prepared, you just won and that's enough. When you're the runner-up, you analyse everything. You know, did I do too much? Did I not practice enough? Was I there too early? Was I there too late? You know, there's a lot of things that they must analyse in that bitter, horrible moment when they're the runner-up, you know.
Michael van Gerwen's an example, isn't he? He won the World Masters at 17 and then went missing for years, but he always maintains now that he had to learn to lose before he could learn to win.
Michael, for me personally, is, I would say, the greatest loser, in the respect that he always gives the winner respect, but he's bitter about what's happened. He's bitter to the core, but he's such a professional.
And he
does all
himself.
his interviews, and he don't ever blame himself.
Yeah.
Always, it's always I was so pleased for him when he got back in on the winning rostrum, because you know I know how much work he puts in, and I know how good he is with the crowd and everything. He's the perfect player. If you're going to model yourself on anyone, he's a good one to model yourself on. He's always got time for people, and I remember when he got beat once, and I thought he's bound to go straight out the door. Nope, straight into Dutch TV. Done every obligation asked of him. A true professional.
Merv, quick update on the score there. Luke Humphries just taken out 68 to move 6-5 ahead.
Yeah, they keep breaking each other, don't they?
Yeah.
So you would think when a game's neck and neck that it's hold, but holds are at a premium in this match. It's a lot of breaks and still playing at a good standard, but both players sort of at the end of the last few legs feeling like they've missed an opportunity to really take control of the match.
And two fit lads as well, you know, they look the part, they're nice and fit, and you can't see any flagging on them just yet. I know we're very early into the game, but I honestly don't see this as a runaway Charlie. I think this is going to be neck and neck right the way to the bitter end.
Well, I do implore you to go onto our YouTube channel and find the darts show feature that we did with John. We went in depth with John's career, his story into darts. John, you started in the paratroopers before your injury. You ended up as a darts MC, and it's quite fitting that this sport is the thing that's taken you all around the world, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's remarkable. I've been involved in lots of different sports, as people will know me from boxing, and I've done snooker and pool and poker and fishing, and I've been very, very lucky to have travelled the globe doing that.
Yeah.
But with darts, I've been really lucky because I've watched it go from the small leisure centres to the big arenas where it deserves to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great dart.
Break
finish.
back again, Murph.
Yeah, it's mad. Break. 87 out for Heta on that occasion. Landing double 9, always a tricky one, but a 12 dart leg.
It's incredible. We played 12 legs and it's gone like a rocket, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, in no time. These players are not wasting any time, you know. The rhythm's there all the way.
Well, keep sending your questions in for John. We'll have you for a few more moments. I'm sure Colin Lloyd is going to be itching to get back on this, Sophie. And I think this is the...
He knows a bit about this game. He certainly knows a bit about this venue and how important it is to win this title.
And I think crucially, he knows that's the comfiest seat in the building. I think.
I think he's right, because it is very comfortable.
We've been treated here. It's lucky the darts are so entertaining. Otherwise, I think, Chris, you might have been nodding off over there.
No, it is nice and comfy actually. But I did sleep here last night. do you think
that's
John,
the best hotel in Blackpool, to be honest?
Do you think that one of these players left in this tournament, whoever wins it, you mentioned it's a real big one, this proper elite tournament.
Very big.
Do you think it could, the likes of Luke Humphries, for example, or Damon Heta, if they win this, do you think that could see them just kick on to the next level and start picking up more and more titles?
I really do. You know, I honestly believe that. There's a lot of talk in boxing that when you win a title in boxing, you become 25% better fighter just by winning the title. And I think that's in every sport. You've got so much self-belief. In many cases, that's all these boys might need. You know, if you look at their careers, they've all been there and about. They need this big one. I mean, we look at Rob Cross, for instance. We thought Rob was a one-hit wonder, wins the World Championship. But when he sealed it with the World Matchplay, you know he's a player. And he's always in that podium. He's always in a winning enclosure. And I think this in itself might have been the propulsion he needed.
Break again. Luke Humphries this time.
Backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. It's a brilliant game.
Well, John, we've got a question here from Christian Jones on YouTube. He says he remembers watching you on the PDC podcast, said some brilliant stories. He wants to know your favourite player and who does he think is the top player currently?
My favourite dart player,
yeah.
and then who do I think's the
top player in the current game?
Tough questions, really, really tough questions. I've got a number of favourite players for various reasons, and I think if I was on Desert Island Disc and I had to take one player with me, that's a really tough call. It's so very, very hard. I like players for certain reasons, and I know this is a bit of a cop-out, and so for that very reason, I find it difficult to answer that question. When you ask me who's an outstanding young player, I've got to say, you know, this top 8 we've had, I mean, wowee. They're not here because of any other reason than the fact that they are playing fantastic stuff.
Yeah, we've talked at length already. I mean, it shows how darts has changed at this tournament. We're going to have 7 winners in 7 years, 7 different winners in 7 years. It shows the strength and depth of the field of darts at the moment. It's
exactly,
crazy.
and they've all got a backstory, Lewis. You know, they've all got a backstory that a lot of our viewers may not know, and a lot of the fans may know some of it, but they've all got a bit of a backstory. Even looking at Damon Heta now, to think he's given up everything at home, him and his wife, and they've travelled over to the UK. They've been here a number of years now, working his craft. You know, hats off to him. This young lad has really battled a lot in his personal life, and look at him, bang, the confidence is there. Look at it.
Hold of throw.
Chris,
so that'll feel like a break now, and it does get him that little buffer. But the problem is that being that way around, it means that if Heta now holds, then it's still only one leg.
Yes. And for Heta, that's important going into this break now. He doesn't want to go in 3 behind on a sudden.
The buffer, the level of buffer needs to be 5 legs, 5 or 6 legs before you can even think about relaxing now. They're on your tail, and we've watched it, haven't we?
Yeah.
You get close to that line, and then that's when it all starts to tighten up, and you think you're nearly there, you're never there till you break that tape on the winning line, you know.
Well, Jake on Twitter predicting that this is going all the way to the tie break. John, I think you're backing his view.
Yeah,
there,
I really think he's right, yeah.
We haven't
Aren't we
had one
lucky?
yet,
Aren't we lucky to see plenty of it? You know, like it's now like 14 legs in. It seemed like it started 5 minutes ago. It's been that exciting.
Every time I see Damon Heta, I love him a little bit more, says Dean. He's a likeable guy, but they all are, aren't they? Johnny sat here, Ryan, who went out of the tournament tonight. You mentioned the backstory. He's his own person, laid back, and
when Johnny Clayton was sat here, his 2 children were just the other side of the studio, and I was talking to them, and they're just so proud of their dad, and to me, I think that helps. I think a lot of people at Blackpool, because the children are broken up from school, they bring their families here, and I think in many ways that can help a little bit if you've got your partner, you've got your kids here, you know, you're looking at them in the audience, and it must give you a spur on, you know. I didn't see that a lot in boxing, and for obvious reasons, it's not, I wouldn't say, the best thing to take your children to.
No, of course,
I like to encourage kids to get into a good sport, but, you know, very young children, I don't think it's the greatest thing to go and watch. But certainly in darts, I think it's been important to them to have their families with them. You know, it's a long 9 days.
Big shot this now. Humphries has just missed the chance to go 9-6 up. Heta wants 72, gets
Perfect
the treble
60.
20. Oh, it's going to be double 3 to make it 1 leg. And now he's missed it, it could be 3 legs. And that's how important it can be.
Yeah. Like I said, if they get that 5-leg buffer, they can relax a touch.
Not much relaxing on this stage. He's
Wrong
hit
bed.
double 8. Wow, and look where it is as well. That's hard.
And exactly, it's just blocked it, Chris.
Yeah, that dart could not have landed in a worse place for him because he had to get over the top. He uses these javelin type darts, doesn't he, Luke Humphries? And
he's chuckling to himself there, you know. Yeah, he is.
Still not easy for Heta. He could split this. I think he's going to go straight for it. Double 3. Boos in the audience, as I'm sure you can hear.
He is splitting it, Chris.
Yeah, in the end. Right, double 1. Watch his reaction if this goes in. Well, it hasn't gone in.
Tension now. Again, not easy for Luke.
Yeah, real little tense spell. This could be a pivotal leg. Humphries wins it.
Easy enough, and he goes in leading by 3 at the break. Now that could be pivotal going into the final sessions of these matches.
It's amazing, isn't it, John? You watch these games, we see 180, 180, you mentioned the 170 finishes, but it's those legs where both players miss doubles that really get the crowd engaged, really create the drama.
It does indeed, and you notice when it's not going right for one, it seems to reflect on the other one. You know, neither of them are being able to capitalise on that. and that's keeping it level as well. You know, it's not like one's 100% on double, don't let him near it. You know, they're both making mistakes, if you want, you know, errors of judgment, I'd rather call it, but it seems to be if one does it, the other one does it.
Yeah, almost contagious.
It's contagious, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, John, for all the walk-ons you've done over the years, 2 questions. If you were to be introduced by an MC, what would you like to come on to? What do you think would make a good walk-on song?
I think it would probably be something like, I love the theme tune from Long Good Friday, which I believe Dennis Priestley had towards the end of his career. But I think Let Me Entertain You, Robbie Williams, is always a good one. But you know what, it's not about you and it's not about your music, it's about what they like. Yeah. If you look at Daryl Gurney, straightforward, upright guy, doesn't give much away, but his walk-on tune, and we had the same with Tony O'Shea, you know, his walk-on song, everybody in the building got involved in it. I think you've got to be not selfish, you've got to pick for them what they would like.
So you're saying you don't go down the Dirk Van Dijvenbode route?
Say again?
You don't go down the Dirk Van Dijvenbode
God,
route?
never in a million years, no.
I've seen you dancing to that stuff.
No, you haven't seen me dancing to it.
How do you manage to raise your voice over it, by the way?
Yeah, well, it's a hell of a song, isn't it? Or a hell of a mix of music. Everybody to their own. You know, I often say to people, if you stole my record collection at home, you wouldn't know who lived in the house. Because I have got an enormous genre of music. I like a lot of different things. But the one thing that I will go on record and say is I don't like that. Whatever it is.
I'm right with him.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Dirk, if it gets him fired up and it works, who's to argue, eh?
No, exactly.
But
And
John,
it works for him.
I mean, I think
it doesn't work for him, does it?
Well,
because he fell over, didn't he, and he hurt himself.
Oh, yes, that was in
jumping about
was it
to
World
on a
Series
Euro
event
tour.
this year, the Euro Tour, nearly broke his ankle.
Yeah. Wow. So he's had to calm it down a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, with Peter Wright, I think people are still waiting to the day that Eagle eventually trips over the Oki. It's surely coming.
Yeah, Peter's. I know when Peter's not been feeling too good, he still had to perform.
Yeah.
You know, you sort of set out your stall. You've got to keep it going because people like all that stuff, don't they? I mean, it's.
Question from James Smith. He asked John, "What do you think's the better walk-on out of Dennis the Heat Ovens or Vincent van der Vaults?"
I think Vincent's great. The whole crowd loved that one with Vincent. And the great thing about Vincent is, and all the officials will tell you this, Vincent will always get you off air on time. His speedy throws that, you know. There's no overtime with Vincent. Yeah. Bang, we're off air,
Chris,
you know.
Have I made this up? Did you help influence that selection?
Not Vincent, no. Some other players, when he used to work on the player management side of things. But I find Vincent a funny one, like John said about Daryl Gurney. Because he's not the bouncy, happy bloke that would walk onto a song like that.
Definitely not. No,
but
definitely
again,
not.
It's something that gets the crowd going.
Well, it's interesting because Vincent always says, you know, amazing, they're singing about me now, you know, whereas normally he's getting booed because, you know, you've got that Dutch rivalry, you know.
Chris, you see on screen there from the red bit on Twitter, just reiterating what you're saying about this match, only 3 legs out of the 15 have gone with throw.
Wow.
Yeah. If that continues,
well,
we're in for a crazy match.
You would
here,
think that, I mean, in a little way, it does give a suggestion of nervousness, of caginess. We mentioned Luke Humphries yesterday being made favourite for the tournament, and whether that is a burden that will weigh heavy on him. Possibly.
He must read it.
Yeah.
You know, and people must say to him, oh, you know, Luke, you know, you're the favourite for the tournament, and that puts extra pressure on you to perform, you know. They think I'm supposed to win it.
Yeah.
I know I'm supposed to win it, you know.
And not often does that happen when you've not won a big one before either, does it? It's just the nature of this particular match play that all the big guns have gone out earlier on. I was quite surprised, I was saying to Lewis, that Johnny Clayton hadn't been made. Of course he will be right now because he's already through. But that might change. If Humphries sort of falls over the line in this one, I think Clayton might end up being favourite in their semi-final.
And also, dare I say, don't leave everything in this quarter-final. You've got a big semi-final to play and an even bigger final.
It's only a short turnaround, isn't it? You're back on tomorrow night.
It is, correct. And you don't want them to have, you know, an absolute barn burner every match because it will take it out of you, and it might not seem like much in a physical sense, but please believe me, the peer pressure these players are under,
but
you know, it is amazing.
This tournament perhaps favours certain players because ones that need that little break, that little bit of rest, you have got a day gap. And you've worked on a number of tournaments, John, where semi-finals are followed by that 20-minute break, as you said about Germany.
Yeah.
And they're straight back on, aren't they? And often you've got the high of the adrenaline of the semi-final, and then you've got to come back down. Yeah. And it is very difficult, isn't it, I imagine?
And the interesting thing is, if you've done it lots of times, like the Van Gerwens have, you know, with 151 PDC titles worldwide, he's experienced all levels. He's had days where he's only had to play the final. He's had days where he's had to play the quarter-final in the afternoon, the semi, then the final. So he's played in all those different scenarios, and he knows exactly how to approach them. Whereas we've got 8 fellas in this quarter-final when we started that have never been there. So now they're going in, they're not on common ground, you know, they're on uncommon ground. So for them, it's a theatre that they might not be used to. So that in itself, that's going to be interesting how they get themselves to that final.
I think there's a little concern for Luke Humphries here. Hetter's wanting 119, needs the bullseye to break the throw. Oh, very close. But Humphries during the leg, he's 9-6 up. And during the leg, he's really berating himself, getting on his own bat. He's already missed a couple of darts at tops to win this. There goes another one. It looks like a good guide, though, for him. Oh, it's gone the wrong side.
Now inside on double 10.
I think that the body language earlier in the leg has kind of become a self-fulfilling prophecy there from Luke Humphries.
And that was what Russ was mentioning about Luke, that he sort of needs to just relax a little bit. He's very harsh on himself.
Yes, he is.
Critical, but I think that's his determination to become the best. But Damien Hetter here.
Well, he's missed a big number. He's only got 1 dart at double, but he's nailed it. So Humphries there, he could have been
just
4
2 legs now.
And a break of throw as well. So it could be back to 1. And Humphries, he was miles ahead, well, 3 legs ahead in the match, could have been going 4 up, miles ahead in the leg, but beating himself up. And something you said about learning earlier, if he wins this match, maybe he doesn't look back at it, but that's something he maybe needs to learn and not let his opponent see all that as well.
John, a question here from Jake Ferris. We've got the Women's World Matchplay on Sunday as well. Who do you think will be lifting that title Sunday? It's Fallon's title at the moment, but Bo Greaves is the name to beat, isn't she?
Well, I'm so looking forward to this. You know, I really am looking forward to this because we have seen coming up through our youth ranks some incredible players, and I've been told by a lot of the staff that work with the ladies on the ladies tour how good they are. We saw that last year here with Fallon. I was so pleased for Fallon. When I think of what she done for women's darts, especially at the World Championship, beating 2 fantastic players like that, and really giving girls at home, come on, we can do this. You know, I'm so excited about that. I want to see, I love the Japanese player, Makuru. I think she's fantastic. And I'd like to see Fallon defend it. But I also think Lisa's owed something, you know, with what Lisa's given to the game.
Plays Fallon in the first round, though.
Yeah, well, that's right, yeah. I mean, it's that's a terrible draw, by the way. Yeah. I feel so sorry for that. But I think Lisa's due something. She's been a great ambassador. But all these girls, it's doing them nothing but good. This is a big stage for them and a big trophy.
But Bo Greaves obviously is going to go off as
what a player.
A big favourite.
Well, John, thank you very much for joining us. We
Pleasure.
will see you, hopefully maybe tomorrow, but definitely on Sunday. You're going to be on stage announcing not 1, but 2 winners of the men's match play and the women's world match play. Thank you very much for coming back on the Dart Show Watch Along. Colin Lloyd, well, he was ready. He's disappeared again. Murph, hopefully he's got to get us a snack, but I doubt it. I doubt
he's there somewhere. He won't be far away.
Yeah, once he appears, John.
Every nook and cranny of this building, Colin's
there we
man.
go. Colin's back. Colin's back. Well, John, thank you very much for joining us.
Been a pleasure.
We will see you tomorrow potentially, but
and I won't miss a second of this. This is so close.
2 huge semi-finals, so you need to give that voice a rest. Make sure you rest up. John, thanks for joining us. Lloydie, get yourself back on this sofa. John, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Well, Murph, Humphries has gone 10-7 ahead.
10-7 now, yeah. So he's got that chance again, that chance to get a 4-leg buffer. But John McDonald was saying it's 5 legs before you can really relax. I haven't seen much relaxation in this match so far. It started pretty well, but the standard is getting dragged down a little bit. I think we're seeing 2 players that are maybe feeling the pressure, feeling the tension. And even at this point, I think that we're going to have a few more twists and turns in this one.
Well, there we go, Lloydie. You've got the headset on finally. Thank
More
you very
twists
much.
and turns than a rattlesnake.
What, in the wire for your headset? Yeah, right, perfect. Or this game, because there's been break after break here, hasn't there? It's been crazy.
Yeah, it's just been, like Murph has now summed it up, I think. It's becoming a battle now. They know what's at stake. They know what's up for grabs. And, yeah, they're still battling hard in there. It's just a case now of, I think, who wants it the most.
Yeah,
and the thing about it is Luke Humphries has got that little bit of cushion that we talk about.
Yes, but it just doesn't seem to be getting far enough ahead.
And we were talking to Russ earlier on. He was saying about Luke's temperament, and Murph was commenting just then. Even though Luke was having the chance to win the leg, he was sort of berating himself on the stage for some of the missed darts throughout the leg. Is that something that he sort of needs to change a little bit?
Yeah, it's not the sort of place where you want to punish yourself, really, especially in front of your opponent. But he's got an opportunity here. Yeah. It's a big opportunity at 115, but this would really help.
Not getting a go. But now you can hear the crowd. I'm sure you're picking up at home behind us. It's building a crescendo when Heta misses one dart.
Yeah.
So he really needed to get that one in.
There we go.
Yeah, silencing the crowd.
Giving it the old he knows what he's playing
lips,
at.
Yeah.
Damon there, the build-up before he returned to the hockey then was because he had to move well across for double 16. You know that always causes a bit of tension. The crowd are going to get up for something like that.
Listen, mate, we know that going away to another sport, the cricket, the Ashes is on.
Yes.
Listen, a proud Aussie. You know, I'm a proud Englishman. Of course I'm going to support England. He's going to support Australia. But like you said the other day, I'm just having a bit of fun with you.
Yes.
You know, he's a really nice fellow, is Damon Heta, and you know he's one heck of a dart player. He's smiling there, but you know what? Deep down inside, he'll be thinking, "Come on, let's just try and get the job done."
The other thing it can do, though, I guess, is it could be an unnecessary distraction for the opponent in that match because they haven't brought any of it on, but it's kind of this battle between Heta and the crowd, and then there's another guy just trying to concentrate on their game, and it must be hard not to get sort of dragged in and distracted by it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You do get drawn into it yourself. You sometimes think to yourself, I don't know what you're grinning at. They're booing you. Yeah. And you think to yourself, hang on a minute, stop doing that. Just focus on your own game. Don't worry about what's going on with him.
Yeah, big little exchange in this match at the minute. 10-8. I think if it's going to go extra time, I think we're going to have to see it get level by about 11-11, 12-12.
I think the significant thing in this match, you know, is I think Luke's having to play at a slower pace than what he enjoys and what he flows at. I don't know whether you guys have spoke about that or not.
No.
Damon's one of these people. He keeps everything in check and he'll do his own thing at his own speed. Whereas Luke likes to go rat-tat-tat. Right, come on. You have your go, and then I can have another go. And that can sometimes. He's not doing a mind game thing. He's just doing his own thing.
Yeah. Well, please keep sending your comments in via the hashtag WMDarts or TDS Watch Along. The iPad has just died a death, so I need producer Luke to come and grab this, get it charged up so we can see the YouTube comments again. But please keep sending tweets in. We can get them up on the screen. Send in your thoughts about this match. We haven't even got to your top 5 dart players. We might have to put that on pause.
Oh, that's fine.
Because this game is reaching towards its conclusion.
Well, it's another breaker throw there. 11-8 now to Humphries, but with a break in hand. So if he can get 4 in front at 12-8, then it starts to look ominous for Heta.
Yeah, it's similar, Chris, to what we spoke about in the match before. Johnny Clayton got that break, and I said, whatever happens now, he'll want to go into this break now 11-9 up. So I think, like you've said, Luke Humphries would much prefer to go 12-8 up instead of 11-9.
He's just hit his 6-180 there, Luke Humphries. That's in 19 legs. He'd actually hit 5 in 8 legs, so 5 in 8 legs, and then 1 in the next 11. Just shows that his game did drop a little bit for a while.
Yeah. It's just become a bit of a battle now, you know. I mean, they're both averaging around, Damon's averaging around the 91 mark, and Luke's around the 95 sort of mark. And it's not world-beating stuff, but at this moment in time, it's good enough.
Right, 12-8 though, for the first time now, 4 legs between them. Luke's only 4 away from winning, Heta's 4 away from him. this first couple of legs when they come back from the break is going to be massive, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be mad. And do you know what? Look at Luke. Look, he looks. I'm all right. I'm all right. He's looking at his team for support. I'm all right. I'm all right. You know, and for him to say that at this crucial stage, that means a lot. You know, a big smile on his face. That means that he's still relaxed. The arm's still flowing. There's no tightness there. He's just getting on with the job, and he's only 4 legs away from getting to the semi-finals, whereas Damon's 8 legs behind. It's huge.
Well, I think the irony of the fact that the iPad, I think, is overheated there. But we did have a comment coming in saying about the temperature in here. It is vastly different this year, as far as we can tell. I know it's hot up on that stage with them studio lights, but the fact it hasn't been as hot this year in Blackpool.
Yeah.
The fact we're going to get a lot of rain tomorrow is going to cool things down even more. And that's important, right, for those players on stage.
We've got a lot of rain now. It's pouring down.
Right, okay.
Pouring down. We've been treated to some nice sunshine today, nice conditions, whereas it started raining. And when it's been warm like that, and then all of a sudden the rain comes, people just automatically think it cools down. It doesn't. It gets a little bit humid because you get the bodies in here, and it's not that clear heat up on the stage.
I walked into that. Can anyone give me a lift home afterwards?
No.
No,
there's no space.
We're not. I tell you what, they've got some brollies behind the bar, like little cocktail ones. You can have a few of them.
Keep down.
Yeah, it's the comfiest seat in the house. That, to be fair.
Well, right, 12-8. Do you think? I mean, he's throwing first in the 21st leg. Do you think he has to win that leg?
Yeah, it's for me. It's crucial that he comes out and wins the first 2 legs.
Okay.
Because that will all of a sudden then put Luke on the back foot a bit. That's not to say that he can't rise to the challenge, but for me, I feel Damon needs to win the first 2, possibly 3 legs after this break.
This guy there just playing out the interview with Ricky Hatton. Darts is one of those sports where people from all walk of life are darts fans, aren't they? Is there anyone that sticks out in your mind as perhaps the weirdest interaction you've had of someone that knew who you were?
Is there? I think there's been a couple of times when I've been fortunate enough as to who I am, what I've done. I was fortunate enough to get invited to a lot of golf days. Bearing in mind, I'm not even a very, very average golfer. I'm sort of like pretty poor, but I like to have a go, especially for charity. And I've had some people come up to me before and say, "Don't tell me the result of last night. I've been working away, an actor of some sort." And I said, "My wife's recorded it. We've got a nice bottle of wine at home and we want to watch it." I said, "Oh, all right." Next thing you know, I'm sitting down there, ladies and gentlemen, World Matchplay champion Colin, and I just see him go like that. And for the life of me, this is really rude of me. I can't remember his name now. He was in Dinner Ladies. The big tall guy that played the caretaker.
I know what you mean.
Do you know who I mean?
Used to be in,
I'm lost.
Yeah, well, and he turned around and said...
Emmerdale as well a few years later.
Yeah, that's it. And he turned around and shook my hand and he said, "I hear congratulations are in order." He said, "I love the darts and the wife. Don't tell me the result. I know you've won, but I want to watch it." And someone just got up and said, "Yeah, the score was blah, 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 blah." And I saw him with his head in his hands like that, as if to say you've ruined it.
But ruined. But I mean, we're talking about the World Championships, you get all manner of people coming to that.
Yeah.
Famously, we had one of the royals and Prince Harry.
Yeah.
And Adrian Lewis kissed him on the head, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Good old Ady.
Great story about Eric Bristow, isn't it, when he went to receive his MBE. And then obviously you get told what not to do, and one of the things you must not do is turn your back on the monarch. And Eric's received his MBE, and then he's sort of forgotten, started to walk around, and then realised immediately he's gone to the Queen. "Sorry, love."
I seem to remember one time here, funny enough, we've been fortunate, in the early part of his career, Freddie Flintoff used to come here quite a bit.
Commentated on that 9-darter, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yes.
In fact, we'll definitly get that clip for tomorrow because it's brilliant.
Well,
absolutely brilliant.
Before all of that, I think there was an Ashes series or something, or some sort of cricket going on. And I was actually in the truck. I was still a player and everything then, and I was chatting with Eric. Anyway, God rest his soul, Johnny Gwynn come in, and he brought in Andy Flintoff. And he goes, "Andy Flintoff, the legend Eric Bristow." You know, and he goes, "Big fan, Eric. I just love watching you as a kid playing darts." So he said, "You're a legend to me." And Eric just casually looked at him and goes, "Eric, fair play." He stood up, shook his hand, just shook his hand. He goes, next time, do me a favour. He goes, when you put an England shirt on, he said, have a bit of pride. And I thought, really?
Well, speaking about English pride in this Ashes of Darts clash here, you said that Heta had to win the first 2 legs, but he's been broken in the first one. Luke Humphries taking out a 1-2-1 check out, 25 treble 20. Heta's head drops, 5 legs clear and throwing first.
Yeah.
Looking good for England here, isn't it?
It is, yes. And the rain outside is helping the cricket as well.
Absolutely.
The thing about this with Damon, I said it about with Daryl Gurney. You know, he's thrown some great stuff. Him and Simon had a decent World Cup, threw some great darts. We know that Damon's going to be heading down back home to Oz for the World Series. And, you know, if he can go back down there, and it'll be no shame that he's got to the quarterfinals of the World Matchplay, second biggest tournament on the calendar. You know, he can feed off of this, and there's no reason that he can't go down to the World Series and pick up a World Series result. Who knows?
Well, he has done before.
Yeah, that's
Brisbane Dart Master. Playing on home soil, it must be special for him because he gets that great reception compared to what he's been having here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a nice tonic, won't it? He might carry it on, depending on the result, obviously.
Yes. Well, we are, I think we're in Auckland for the final test match.
Right.
So we may well know the result by the time we get to Australia. It's playing Wollongong.
Luke Heed now, he's just starting to turn the screw a little bit. Damon seems to have sort of like lost his scoring boots a little bit.
Really searching, isn't he? The last couple of darts at the 60, one well above, one well below. Humphries on easy street at the moment. Heta not on a finish, so Humphries can just lay up here. Just checking with the referee, Kirk Bevans, what he had left, and he's tidied that up nicely.
A word on that, asking the referee, because some people don't know, what is it you're allowed to ask the referee and what are you not allowed to ask?
You can basically ask the referee what you've scored and what you've got left. You can't obviously ask the referee, I've got 82 left, what way do I go?
That's what I'd need. I'd need that, Lloyd,
you can basically ask the referee, what have I scored?
Yeah.
What have I got left? That's basically all you can ask.
6 legs now, boys. 14-8, 2 away, Luke Humphries.
All of a sudden, he's looking comfortable, isn't he? Well, I say all of a sudden, it's been for a while, he's looking comfortable, but Damon has got to find something here, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, what is it now? How close were they at that after 15? I think it was 8-7, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Yeah. But if he's got that true Aussie grit,
no, 9-6. Sorry, it was 9-6.
9-6. Yes.
He's not going to lie down. You know, Luke's going to have to not just poodle his way to the winning line. He's going to have to run over it.
Yeah, well, we did see in his match against Dirk that he had an off spell, didn't he? And lucky for him, so did Dirk. So he hasn't been there yet. He hasn't achieved a big semi-final in a match play or a world championship. That we went to the UK Open final, he's won on the Euro Tour. That would have readied him a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're sprints, aren't they, compared to this?
Yeah, very much so.
But what is it, the importance of the Euro Tours? How crucial are they to giving you that stage experience and then translating it into a tournament like this?
Myself personally, looking at it, I mean, I was coming towards the end then, sort of thing.
Yes.
And, you know, the Euro Tours were just starting up then. It's fantastic experience because you're on a big stage. You're in front of sort of like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. Chris will tell you a lot more than me because he works on a lot.
Yeah, Chris, you go all over Europe, don't you?
You're in front of 3,000 or 4,000 people, similar to this sort of thing, really. And as big a stage, not as the ambience, obviously. You know, it's a world match play, but you still have to go up there and do a job.
Well, you guys, when you'd play tour events, wouldn't you, behind closed doors? So your first big tournament might have been a world champion. Your first experience of a player coming in those days might have been a world championship or a world match play.
I mean, that's the thing, Chris. You hit the nail right on the head there. Where you do play behind closed doors, you can have a player and you can have a guest come in with you, But don't forget those Pro Tours.
Yeah.
At the end of it, you don't play on a big stage for like semi-finals and finals. You just play it in a middle dartboard on either the left or right side of the room.
Yeah, and it's dead silence. As the day goes on, it gets even quieter because everybody that leaves takes their guests with them. And by the end of the day, you've got 2 players, and you can hear a pin drop.
You could maybe have about 20 people left in the room.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you mentioned there, that is one of the craziest things when we get the players that come into the World Championships as qualifiers from places that, that might be their first taste of big stage darts, and they're playing in front of the bear pit at Ali Pali. It is kind of mad to think that they can even hold the composure and throw
we can
sometimes very well.
We can never criticise from the cheap seats. Watching those in the arena actually doing it.
Cheap seats.
Not this plush leather sofa,
Yeah.
Well, Humphreys here looking at double 10. Heta did get a leg back, didn't he? But Humphreys now one away. One away from a first match play semi-final and a meeting with Johnny Clayton, who did something similar, didn't he, against Ryan Searle? Just towards the end of the match, he went away.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It was similar to this one where Luke got the 12-8, Johnny got the 11-9, and they pushed on from there. And it's amazing how when you get to this position, when you're in front like that, everything seems so easy. I know you've still got to go over the winning line, and that sounds a bit crazy, but everything feels so easy because you're within touching distance, and you know full well your opponent has got to push so hard.
But surely the tension rises when you know that this is the checkout to get me over the line. This puts me in the semi-finals.
Yeah.
Surely the pressure must be building at that moment.
Not for me, it didn't.
No.
Well, I think the one example I can think of that actually was Gerwyn Price when he won that world title, and he missed loads of darts and double.
Yeah.
There was actually no crowd there, but it was hit this to be world champion.
Yeah. All of a sudden you think it, and once it gets in your head, you can't help but think it. This is a big, big dart.
Damon well ahead in this leg and comfortably in the end finds double 16 with the last dart in hand. He gets himself up to double figures.
Yeah, 15-10.
Billy giving us a comment there on Twitter saying if Damon was to figure out the big stage stuff, I mean he's played very well this week, but if he was to really click on the big stage, he could be a formidable force, couldn't he?
I think the thing with Damon, what I see of Damon is he's too bitty in matches.
Yeah.
There's brilliance, but then there's not even B+. It's sort of like C- stuff, and if he can just, like where it's like that, and then it comes down to there, if he can just creep it up a little bit, we speak volumes, Chris, don't we? It's sort of like Chris, I think, spoke about it yesterday, someone's A game and B game. The vast golfing difference is huge, and that gets exposed in big events like this.
I actually think, Lewis, he's got the names the wrong way around there. I think Damon Heta is one of those players who, of course, can improve, but I don't think he can reach the levels that Luke Humphreys could. And Humphreys showed that through his youth career, a couple of World Youth titles, remarkable success on the Dev Tour, and all this Euro Tour success where he's, Lloyd said it before, dominating in some ways. I think if Humphreys figures out how to win these big ones, we could actually see him go right up. He could be a future world number one. Certainly think he's a future world champion. And he could be the World Match Play champion on Sunday night.
Yeah.
I think he's got gears to go, Luke Humphreys. If he wins this tournament, by the way, he goes in the top 4. He goes ahead of Gerwyn Price.
Wow. Heta looking at 72, which he takes out into. Back-to-back legs for Damon Heta. And as you say, that finish line is very close for Luke Humphreys.
Yeah, he's the last batsman, isn't he?
Yes.
Heta, waiting for that last wicket to go. But you can't be a bit of a night watchman, can you? You've got to go all out attack and hit the sixes.
See, you just now saw Damon there sort of like go, and that wasn't just because he hit a 140. It was a case of now you come back. Yeah. I needed that scoring a few legs ago. Why weren't you with me then?
Does he holds his throw here.
He's just done it again. It's mad.
Back-to-back 140s. He holds his throw 15-12. If he breaks then 15-13, does Humphreys start to sweat a little bit?
I think he'll start. I think he's even started thinking these last couple of legs, Murphy. Because he's had two very mediocre legs on the trot, and what he'll be thinking now is let's try and string together a couple of trebles.
Well, he's done 2 treble turns,
yeah.
a hat-trick of them here. That's actually Luke's first treble in the leg. Heta needs 87 for an 11 darter. He's smiling before he throws it because he knows he's probably going to hit it, and he is thinking, as Lloyd said, where's it been? Now, does he go for double 9
I'd split this myself. I'd have split it. I'd have just gone big 10, big 10 or a 2. It's a lot comfortable to double at 9.
Here.
Yeah.
Now does he split it? Maybe. Humphries has left 170, hasn't he? So
straight for it. Damon Heta hits it.
Yeah, immaterial come the end, but you know, myself personally, I'd have split that.
The 6 legs becomes 3 suddenly. Luke Humphries, and again the last
doesn't
dart.
need that, does he?
Yeah, it goes into the 1 segment.
Treble 1.
It sort of like goes, Chris, to sort of like, is he already looked and thought, right, Johnny Clayton next?
Yeah. Well,
has that crept into his head, and all of a sudden now he needs to step back in his head, give himself a talking to. Right, come on.
Let's maybe
reapproach this.
Spin around what I just said, Lloydie. Luke Humphries winning this tournament, I think the floodgates could open. But if he were to lose from this position, how damaging could that defeat be?
Let's just have it goes back again, mate. Would Daryl Gurney gone on a rampage? The way he was in front against Rob Cross a couple of years back. Rob Cross went on to win the event, and Daryl was, 14-9 up, I think he was. He was 2 legs away. I'm not saying Daryl would have gone on to win the tournament, but, you know, we said that Daryl's been on the missing list for sort of like the last couple of years.
True. Yeah, good example.
I think that really hurt him. And I'm not saying, I don't really know the character of Luke that well. You know him better than me. Will it hurt him, or will he be able to say, right, okay, my own fault, right, let's start again?
Well, it's unlikely it's going to happen now because he's got himself a chance to win it here. Luke Humphries, 90 for the match. He's gone the 18th route and he's missed the big number entirely. Now, Damon Heta wants 152 to stay in it. What a shot this would be.
This is the sort of shot that would really hurt. Because even though he's well in front, Luke started to shake his head.
Oh, it's
There's
in.
the first.
Oh.
There's the second.
Wow!
What a shot that is.
What a shot. And he knows how big that shot is. He knows how big that shot is.
Well, he looks like he's still having fun out there. He's saying to the crowd, I'm still here.
Yeah.
And
152.
Surely now Humphries starts to think this could go wrong.
Yes.
If he wasn't already.
Yeah.
That has got to have dealt a small, if not huge, significant psychological blow.
Well, that reaction to me, for the first time in about 20 minutes in this match, says Damon Heta now thinks he can win it.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more with you, Murph. Couldn't agree more with you.
I'm not quite sure what the collar bit was, if you could explain that.
I don't know.
I thought he was going to do a Lloyd, he'd take his shirt.
Oh, well, I'd say he ain't got the physique for that. No. He ain't got the physique for that.
And it's exactly what we talked about might be coming into fruition here, because now he's throwing to move within 1 leg, meaning Humphries has just 1 more chance to serve it, otherwise it goes to a tie-break.
Yeah.
Again, now no trebles.
Yep. Like you say, Lou, sorry, mate, and that's an opening.
The wrong side of the treble 20 with the first 2,
Champagne
in
breakfast.
between. But does Heta now, because he thinks he can win, does he start to tighten up? It can happen like that. Maybe not.
Oh, a 140 there from Damon Heta. Much better than his first visit.
Yeah, gripping now this. You've got one player who's so close to winning, but he's the one that is bearing the weight of the world on his shoulders. The other one that's chasing him down, thinking, I've got you here, pal.
So it's gone to that sort of thing where, I think I said it last night, where one's trying to get over the line and the other one who's been chasing has just thought, well, I'm going to get beaten. They just relax and start peppering the treble 20 like what Damon is. And that's clever thinking, that. I quite like that.
But it should be, it says should lightly, but probably will be 15-14 after this visit. 17 for tops.
Oh, big dart coming in.
Oh, he's getting another chance.
Big opportunity now.
92 for Humphries.
Now, does he go treble 20s or does he go the bull route? I think he's going to go straight at it.
If it's a single, is it double-double?
Got to go double-double.
There's
Good dart.
one.
Go on then.
Oh, there we have it.
Yeah,
Look
what a
at
way
that.
to win it.
Yeah.
Incredible. Round of applause from you two. That is some finish.
Because he might have needed that. So
Yeah.
if he doesn't take that out, he's in trouble.
Yeah, that is very impressive under the pressure from Luke Humphries. And the scenes we're seeing now, that game was played in a great manner. Big embrace at the end from the two. Damon Head knows, he was pushed all the way, but Luke Humphries was too strong for him.
Yeah, I think the way that Hector came back, he'll actually leave the stage with a bit more optimism for the next tournament, for the trip to Australia, for his future. He's gone 29 legs in a real marathon, a game that he could have been out of, he's got back into, but for that brilliant double-double finish, could have still been playing for another half an hour, couldn't he?
Yeah, could have been, yeah.
Well, gentlemen, that has decided the semi-finals in this competition. Tomorrow night we're going to watch Nathan Aspinall take on Joe Cullen. And Johnny Clayton now facing Luke Humphries. A brilliant Final Four, isn't it?
Yeah, wow.
I think it's going to be great. I think I'm really looking forward to Johnny Clayton, Luke Humphries, because I think I said it a little while ago where Damon was going at his own pace and well, and I don't think that was very comfortable for Luke. Whereas he knows with Johnny Clayton will just, there's no tactics, it's just all out attack, boom, 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 and that'll Luke will like that. Johnny Clayton will like that. And so I think we're in for a treat with that game tomorrow night.
I think with the other game, I think we'll get a bit more animation, a little bit more sort of Aspinall. He's got his way about him. How he's a bit bouncy, a bit he's tenacious, and Cullen will do that as well if he needs to. He's got that in him, Joe Cullen. That'll be a proper fight.
Yeah, we know we're going to get big reactions from all of them. Johnny Clayton this evening was so impressive on his doubles. Do you think that's all he's got to do against Luke Humphries? Just be so clinical like he was this evening?
I think where Johnny Clayton was concerned tonight, the scoring was there and the finishing. His finishing, like Murph said, he said 6-ton plus finishes, they hurt, but he scored heavy as well. Luke Humphries will not be able to have the lull that he had with his average wise against Johnny Clayton, because I think Johnny Clayton will jump all over that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. The semi-finals are decided here at the Betfred World Matchplay. 32 came, we are down to just 4. Join us tomorrow for night 8 at the Betfred World Matchplay.